Welcome to another deadline stream ahead of Game Week 16, and we're going to have these deadlines every few days or so. It's going to be absolutely hectic, and then we have these situations like Jota. Looks like he could actually miss out this weekend. Let's wait and see if he does finally train today. But these press conferences aren't really helping us in terms of all the headaches we're getting with our teams, but that's how it is. Norwich have some COVID cases. Let's see if that game actually stays and doesn't actually get cancelled against Manchester United. Thank you to everyone who's decided to tune in today. This is my team, and nothing has changed from my team selection. I don't think I'm going to be taking any hits. If Jota misses out, so be it. I'll have Gallagher coming on. Alonso, it looks like he should be fine this weekend, and he should start. Same with the rest of my team. But going forwards, there are a few concerns. Jamie Vardy perhaps against Tottenham, and there will be other cases on the horizon. But let's wait and see. We'll take it one step at a time and see what we get from it. But let's go through the chat, see what people have been saying. Welcome Scarlett. Foden has lately been like a chick that says she will not come the whole day, then turns out when you're going to the bed. What did I just read? Sell him for Bowen or hope he starts, have Jota, Mount and Bernardo. It's a tough one because he might not start this weekend. Bowen's a really good choice long term. You already have Bernardo Silva, but the thing is Foden is still a really good choice. I know he hasn't been delivering recently, but he is a quality player. It's a tough one. I'd probably just keep for now. Just bear in mind he might miss this game. Jota missed training. Yep, there you go. So Klopp did say that it depends if he's actually going to train today or not, and it looks like he isn't. So welcome Ahmed. And NM says, so I'm thinking of taking a -4 Kane, Raf and Jota, Saka, Gallagher out for King, Bernardo and Bowen, or Kane, Jota and Reguilon, Archer for White, Dennis. What do you think? That's a lot of different scenarios there. So your team, yeah, your team looks pretty decent. I would probably go for, that is tough. I would probably go for the first set of transfers you said, and I would get rid of Rafinha, because even if Jota misses out this weekend, which is looking likely, he should be back within the next few game weeks. So I would rather keep Jota than Rafinha, despite the fact that Rafinha is obviously going to be playing, and with Jota it looks like he won't be. Foden out for Bowen, for Kane to Ronaldo, or Kane to King and Brownhill to Bowen. But the thing is, if you do Brownhill to Bowen, you're going to have the case of 8 attackers, and there's nothing wrong with good squad depth, but maybe it's a bit too much. So if that's the case, I would just do Foden out for Bowen, but he's always a good option. Welcome AJ. Sue. For the second option, I meant Kane, Jota and Reguilon to Ronaldo, Bernardo and White. Fair enough, I'd still go for the first option. And Jota's out this week due to embarrassment after last week's open miss goal. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he should be embarrassed. That was awful, to be honest. But I'm not too surprised. That is what Jota can be capable of. For some reason, this chat is a bit bugging on my screen, so apologies. I'll try to get through these. Nabil says, I have Jota, Sanchez, Reguilon, Basuma, Foster and Jesus. That looks, well, I was going to say that looks pretty decent. It would if they were all, available. But of course, the Brighton game is suspended, same with Spurs. Yeah, and there could be more postponements on the way. Maybe not this game week per se. Yeah, you're a bit unlucky, to be honest, but maybe a hit or two, maybe 3 is probably the thing to do, Nabil. But, sometimes these things can happen. Force him again with Villa's favourable run. Yeah, I mean, he's a decent choice. I'd just rather go for Watkins or Ings. He is a decent choice, but I probably wouldn't go for McGinn. Would getting Watkins be a good idea to replace Tony? Yeah, I think so, but if not, you can always go for one of the Watford attackers, Lucas. I'm guessing you already have one of them, so you want to go somewhere else. But if you don't have the Watford attackers, then I would look at Watkins. But personally, Dennis and King are probably a little bit more up in terms of the rankings. Is Dalot nailed on? At least this week. It looks like Wan-Bissaka's going to miss out. He has like a hand injury or something like that. That's what I read. But yeah, Dalot should play this weekend. Is he nailed for the long term? That's a different question. I'm not too sure. Right now, he should be nailed, but I don't think that's always going to be the case. Hi Dylan. Gundogan in for Norgard for a -8. Tough one, but I think it's worth it. Bench Gray or Jota? I just bench Gray just in case, but it looks like Jota's not going to play. Welcome Buster Blade. Is Jota going to start? It doesn't look like it. From what I read in the chat, it looks like he hasn't been training today, and that's what Klopp said. A lot will depend on if he actually trains today. Dylan Bowen in for Jota out. That's the thing though, because Jota could easily be back by game week 17 or 18, and you'd probably want him back then. Bowen, of course, is a great choice, but I don't know if I'll be getting rid of Jota just yet. I probably wouldn't. Hey Dylan, this game week keeps getting crazy for all of us. Yeah, it's probably the craziest game week we've seen so far, and there's probably more to come over this Christmas period. Hi Dylan, looking at Johnson or Livramento to Dalot. I probably would say Johnson because he is injured. I don't know how long he's out for. If anyone does know, then correct me here in the live chat. But yeah, otherwise, of course, I'd rather keep Johnson because of the fixtures for West Ham. But yeah, right now, as things stand, I probably would get rid of Johnson. Bench Jota or Gray. Yeah, I already said this, mate. I'd bench Gray. Foden, 10 goals and assists in 10 games. Injuries have been the problem. Yeah, I agree. But everyone just looks at points. That's the thing. That's the way this goes. Going without a goalkeeper this game week and don't have a bench, so I have to take Jota out. Is Jota to Bernardo for a hit worth it? I already have Bowen and Gundogan. It could be worth it this week because it looks like Jota won't play, but the thing is you probably would want Jota long term. That's why I keep saying you want to also think just beyond this game week where you might benefit from that Bernardo transfer, but will it actually be worth it for a hit in the long run? I'd just go for it if you're kind of struggling to get to 11 men, but otherwise you could just keep. Take a -8, Son and Vardy for Foden and Ronaldo. Yeah, that's tough. I would probably just do Son out, maybe for a Bernardo. You could get Foden, but he's also a risk, so I probably wouldn't take that -8, and I probably wouldn't get Foden. I like getting Ronaldo in, but at the same time, Vardy could match him, and taking a -4 for that transfer specifically, I just don't think it's worth it. Need a -8 to get 11 on the field. Bringing in Soufal, King, Bowen. That looks pretty good, John. I would probably encourage that. You don't need my kind of permission or my kind of approval, but yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And good evening from Chiang Mai. Damn, that's a new location that I've heard of in terms of people watching from the stream, so thank you very much. And thank you very much for Aranya becoming a member for 2 months. Much appreciated. And good evening to you as well, Aranya. Thank you very much for still being a member. Much appreciated. And let's try get through some of the questions I missed. Oh my God. Wank Bissaka had a hand injury. It's in the name. Jesus Christ. Tony out for whoever or Janssen out for double Chelsea defence. Tough one. I probably would go for Tony out for a King or a Dennis. Hi mate, would you put Hwang or Livramento first bench? That's tough. Probably Livramento. Sudindra puts his team out. So many players out. And Rafinha sues. Yeah, I mean, that is pretty awful, but we're seeing more and more people having these sorts of situations, and yeah, Cornet, it was revealed today, it looks like he's going to be missing out. This is absolutely bonkers, isn't it, this game week? I'm actually quite fortunate. I made 2 early transfers, and I haven't really been punished too much. Jota's the only concern I really have, but I wouldn't mind having Gallagher come off the bench, but yeah, I mean, going into the future, I would have a few other problems to solve, but this game week I'm pretty fine. Obviously I'm quite lucky compared to some of you here who've just not had the rub of the green, let's put it that way. Case for Ronaldo captain, facing fixture does favour him. Norwich concede most of the chances through the middle. Ronaldo obviously plays through the middle, and I think that this could be a really good fixture for him. He's on penalties now once again. But then looking on the other side, Norwich have some COVID cases. Don't be too surprised if the game is called off. Salah is in great form. Would you really back against him? Also the effective ownership argument, although I don't really use that into my arguments for captaincy, but it's something worth considering. I would still go for Salah, but Ronaldo is a very good captainable option too if you want to kind of deviate from the pack, of course. Bench Jota for Dennis, yeah. But either way, you could just start Jota just in case. I don't think it will be a case of him coming off the bench. He will either start or not start at all. But Firmino is back, so let's see how that kind of plays a part into Jota in the future. Welcome, the Flying Dutchman. Good evening to you as well. Hi, I am from Myanmar. Wow, I mean, there's people from everywhere. It's absolutely incredible. But I have seen a few people from that location, I believe. But thank you very much, Ryan, for tuning in. Is Gundogan going to start? I think so, but just bear in mind there is a problem there with De Bruyne coming back in, and he could maybe displace Gundogan in certain games. It happened in the last Premier League game, so let's wait and see. Greetings from Florida, thank you very much, and greetings to you as well. Very nice location you're from. Can't really say the same for where I'm from. Son, Cody, Tony out for Bernardo, Diaz, King for a -4. I probably would do that, Mohamed. Yeah, I probably would do it. What do you think is the best formation going forward now? Still tough. I think 4 at the back is still viable, so I'd say either 3-4-3, 3-5-2 or 4-4-2. One of those formations. 4-3-3 is also perfectly reasonable. I would try to go for 4 midfielders at least though. 3 or 4 defenders is fine, and then it depends, 2 or 3 attackers, but yeah, I wouldn't really think about formations too much. Good evening, Mark. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see what else has been coming in. Yeah, Mohammed already answered your question about that. Please, Guy Dylan already did Son to Bowen. Thinking about a -4 hit. Is it preferable? Jota to Mane, Mount Fernandez. Already have Bernardo and Smith Rowe too. Smith Rowe, good news on his camp. It looks like he actually could start. He's been in training and things are a bit positive with Smith Rowe. Son to Bowen and a -4 hit. No, I would just do Son to Bowen. I wouldn't maybe take a hit, to be honest. If you have enough squad depth, Mozam, I would probably just keep things as they are. Just make one free transfer. I have Tony, Foden and Jota and only one free transfer. Thinking of taking Dennis for Tony and a -4. What do you think? Yeah, I think I would probably do the same thing. I would get rid of Tony for Dennis. It makes sense. And he probably will miss the Manchester United game. And even if he doesn't, it's not really a great game for him. If you had to bring in two out of Ronaldo, Bowen and Bernardo Silva, which two would you pick? Difficult. Because I have Vardy, I would opt for Bernardo Silva and Bowen first. But it ultimately depends on your team. But I would probably prefer one of those midfielders first at least, and then Ronaldo. That's kind of the way I would prioritise it. Alex or Dalot, better option? I'd probably say Dalot because he's cheaper. Having said that, Telles might have more attacking threat. At the same time though, when Shaw and Wan-Bissaka come back, the whole dynamic could change. But right now, I'd go for Diego Dalot. Thank you very much to Yorang for signing up as a member once again. Very much appreciated, mate. And hopefully the time is a bit more friendly to you and also people from that part of the globe. Obviously, we do have a kind of earlier deadline, so that's why we are streaming at this time. But thank you very much for becoming a differential. Yeah, try to be patient with me. I'm trying to get through as many questions as possible and try to give detailed answers. Rafinha to whom? Gallagher, Bowen, Smith Rowe. I would go for Bowen. Naranja, I would do that. Keeping both Sanchez, Foster and Jota. Yeah, it's not ideal, but at the same time, Sanchez will have a double game week if you do keep him for that. And yeah, he's still a good option in the long term. Hey Dylan, should I play White or Bowen or get Bowen for Jota -8? Think I should just play White. I probably would just play White. Yeah, Kai Havertz, I'd do that. Will Jesus start or be benched? Well, he's been nursing a problem. But honestly, I just sell Jesus. I wouldn't really be thinking about him too much. He can be very good sometimes, especially in these weeks where it's kind of low scoring and a differential like him really comes to the fore. But I would just sell him, honestly. I'm not too confident if he's going to start, and it's kind of the same case most weeks, to be honest. Joseph from Kenya, double Chelsea defence. I've known a few people from Kenya as well, so thank you very much, Joseph. I think one Chelsea defender is fine. Double is still not too bad, but I don't think it's going to be as profitable as it was in the early game weeks of the season. And I am probably looking at, if I want to get Ronaldo in, downgrading Alonso in the coming weeks. But defense is the max I'd go. I definitely wouldn't go for free. Welcome, Kobe. Would you play Gaeta or Ramsdale? I would play Ramsdale. I already have Joshua King. Surely not double Watford attack with Dennis. Yeah, that's a bit difficult, Goldhead. You still can. I think that could be a very nice little differential duo, but I probably would try to space it out. So if you have two players who are kind of budget, it's hard to kind of upgrade them later on, especially if Dennis, for example, does go to the African Cup of Nations. I would try to have a balance, maybe a mid-price striker in there like Antonio, and then a premium perhaps, if not another mid-priced. Hey, I am from Bhutan. -8 hit for Rafinha and Region for Bowen and Dalot in. Thank you very much, Mon. And there's people from everywhere. It's incredible, as I always say. I probably would take that hit. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of taking hits, but I think the hit does make sense in this case. Yeah, I probably would do it. Do you think going for Ronaldo is worth it? I think it is worth it, but it's not necessary. I've said this in my previous videos as well, like my transfer tips video. He's a buy in that, in the buy, hold, and sell sections. But at the same time, it's difficult because you don't have to captain him. You probably won't be captaining him. So do you really need someone over 12 million? The answer is no. But he could be a very nice big plus, and also someone else, another big hitter for you. Felix says, Tony to King and Son to Bernardo and play without keeper, or Son to Bernardo and Foster to Ramsdale, bench Tony. That's a tough question. I probably would do Tony to King and Son to Bernardo. The only problem here is that you probably will, well, you will be down to 10 men regardless because both of your keepers are injured. It's a tough one, but ultimately if you do stick along with those keepers long term, then you're pretty fine there. I'm guessing you have Sanchez as your other goalkeeper. If that's not the case, then yeah, maybe the goalkeeper transfer does make more sense. But in terms of just normal transfers, pure transfers, looking at that, what is best for your team long term, I prefer the first two you mentioned and doing the outfield moves. Saka or Gallagher out for Bowen? That's a tough one. I would rather keep Gallagher though, despite Saka having better fixtures, but I would probably do that. -4 for Jota to Mount. I wouldn't do that, Rishik. I probably wouldn't, especially if you have squad depth to cope with that. Is it worth doing a -4 hit to bring in Ronaldo, Bowen and King? It depends who you bring out, Aranya, but I'd say yes, it is worth it. Bruno versus Ronaldo, thoughts? Very difficult to say so far. With Ralph Rangnick, we haven't seen too much, but I think Bruno could really become an option. Ronaldo's on penalties, it looks like. Let's see if that's still the case with Rangnick. And I think some of these teams that are coming up would favour Ronaldo a lot, but let's wait and see over the next few weeks. I think I might lean more towards Bruno during that time frame, but right now, if I had to pick, probably Ronaldo, because you look at the midfielders, you can get Jota when he's fit, you can get Mason Mount, Bernardo Silva, Bowen, and Salah, so you have more to choose from in midfield. With the attack, you don't really have any premiums that are standing out right now, so I probably would say Ronaldo at this moment in time. Let's see. Start Jota or Livramento. I just start Jota just in case, and then if he doesn't start, then so be it. But let's say, for example, you bench Jota and then he starts, which is unlikely but still possible, then I don't think that's really a good position to be in. Don't want to take a hit. I'll bench Reguilon and Jota and risk Jesus playing or not. Fair enough, Nabil. I just think long-term Jesus isn't worth it, really. Sell Smith Rowe, Rafinha or Jota. I'd sell Rafinha based on the fixtures. The problem here is that if Jota is out for 2 to 3 game weeks, then ultimately it would have been worth keeping Rafinha. But still, with the assumption that Jota's back fairly soon, I don't think he'll be out for too long, I would sell Rafinha. Start Smith Rowe, Mbeumo or Jota, Salah or Ronaldo captain. I'd captain Salah, and in terms of who to start, tough one, but I would still start Jota just in case, and I'd put Smith Rowe first sub, Mbeumo second. Either way, it looks like Smith Rowe will be coming on for you. Should I keep Foden and Jota for this game week? My bench is weak, to be honest. That's a tough one, but if it's not for a hit, Sevenes, I would probably look to maybe sell one of those midfielders, but otherwise it's fine. Why does Jota have a caution there? He's got a muscle injury. Klopp talked about this in his press conference, and it looks like he didn't train today, so there's a big chance he doesn't play this weekend. Yeah, any questions about if Jota's going to play? It looks like he won't play, but I can't tell you with any certainty. I can only offer you my opinion. So yeah, will Jota play? My opinion is he won't, but he should be back in the next few weeks anyway. And by weeks, I mean game weeks. If he's out for a few weeks, that's a really big concern. He's going to be missing several games. Play Jota or Alonso? Once again, I just play Jota just in case, but the likelihood is Alonso will be coming on for you. Sanchez, De Gea or Fabianski or Ramsdale for a -4 hit? It's between De Gea and Ramsdale for me, and I would still go for Ramsdale. I just think that if De Gea and Ramsdale don't keep a clean sheet, who will still score more points? Probably Ramsdale. Thank you, CH. Hey Dylan, love your streams. Have Cancelo, Trent, Diaz, James and Dallo. Would you bench one of those in favour of Mbeumo? Good question, and thank you very much for tuning in. I would probably say no. I would actually start all of those defenders over Mbeumo. I am bringing out Rafinha, Kane and Tony for Bowen, Ronaldo and King. Fair enough. I would take the hit, Aranya. Yeah, I would take it. Obviously, it's up to you what you do in the end, but if it was me, I probably would. Sanchez to De Gea for a hit. It's tough because really you need him to keep a clean sheet, and even if he does, you're probably only going to make 2 points from that hit. Long term, it could pay off with the fixtures. Ultimately, I don't think you have to take the hit, but yeah, it still is a good transfer long term. I have Kane, Reguilon, Sanchez, Tony and Jota. Should I free hit? It's a tough one because the free hit could be very useful in a blank or double game week. So no, I would try to not use it, but you do have a lot of players missing out, and especially big hitters like Kane. So it's tough. Yeah, once again, Martin, I already answered that question. I can't really give you a definitive answer. I think he won't play. Captain Lacazette or Rashford? I wouldn't captain either, honestly. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Rashford, but I wouldn't really go for either of them. If I were to go away from Salah, which obviously you can do, it's not like you're not allowed to, I would go for a Ronaldo or someone like that, or Cancelo, but not Lacazette or Rashford. I don't trust them enough. Is it worth taking out Sanchez for another goalkeeper and take a -4, or is it not worth it? It goes both ways. If you get someone like Ramsdale or De Gea, the hit could pay off long term. But in terms of the hit paying off this week immediately, that's a different story. You would need a clean sheet to be kept, and then you'd only really make 2 points out of it. So hits with goalkeepers are always tough. When a goalkeeper isn't featuring and you're going to be down to 10 men, then it changes the perspective slightly. But I probably would still try to avoid taking a hit for a goalkeeper, if possible. Ronaldo or Salah captain, both really good choices. Probably my top 2 this week, but I would go for Salah. I have Tony, Kane and Jota. Would you recommend to bring in? I think Ronaldo in for Kane, and also Dennis or King for Tony. I think you can afford to keep Jota, Javier. play King, Smith Rowe, or Benteke, I would honestly play King, and I'd play Smith Rowe second, Benteke third. All of them are good choices this week, though. Took a -8, Vardy, Tony, and Sanchez to Ronaldo, De Gea, and Davis. Good transfers. I mean, I like the Ronaldo transfer. I just think taking a -4, really, or having a hit involving that where Vardy could match Ronaldo or even better him this week, it might be very risky. But I like the De Gea transfer. Once again, I'm not a big fan of hits for goalkeepers. And then getting a Davis in, which is pretty much a budget option to facilitate that move. I'm not a big fan of the hit, but I think long-term, the Ronaldo and De Gea moves could be really good. Yeah. Any questions about Jota? Will he play? I already talked about this. I don't think he will play, but I would still start him just in case, because in my case, Gallagher will be coming on, and the same will go for you. If you do start Jota, whoever's on your bench will be coming on for him, so I wouldn't really pay too much attention to that. Captain, Trent, James, or Cancelo. This week, I would probably look towards Cancelo out of those three, but James is also very interesting, actually. Would you do Rafinha to Bone for a -4 or play Saint-Maximin? Tough one, isn't it? That's a tough one. I would probably avoid taking the hit and play Saint-Maximin and do the transfer next week for free. I think maybe not Saint-Maximin himself, but Wilson, for example, could do very well in this fixture. Will a free hit reverse a hit? Yes, it cancels out all of your transfers. So going into the next week, you're going to be back with the team you had 2 game weeks ago. And the transfers are all pretty much cancelled out. What to do with Smith Rowe, Jota, Rafinha, Kane? Yeah, with Smith Rowe, it looks like he's going to be fine this week, and it's not really something I'd be looking to get rid of, especially with this fixture in mind and a few decent ones coming up for Arsenal. Rafinha is the one that I would have normally said get rid of, but Kane is just a big hit and he's not doing it for you, so I would just get rid of Kane for Ronaldo. Yeah, I agree with the options you're looking at. I would prefer... let's see. Yeah, you probably do have King or Dennis, but I would rather have them than Watkins. But yeah, I like those options other than that. But yeah, right now, I think the main priority for you is getting in Ronaldo in for Kane and possibly Bowen or Bernardo for Rafinha, depending on your budget, Marco. Best 5.4 million and under midfielder. There's not really anyone, to be honest, around 5.4 or under. So I would just look at the 4.5s and then invest or have that extra money invested in the rest of your midfield. So there's not really anyone at 5.4 or under. Force on Dallo, I talked about him in my best wildcard video. He featured in it. Also my transfer tips video. I think he's a buy. I think he'll play this weekend. I mean, Wan-Bissaka's a big doubt for this, but he will be back after that. It looks like Wan-Bissaka isn't going to be out for too long. So yeah, I think he's a good option. King or Dennis? I mean, I've gone for Dennis myself. I just think he's the better player. He's more clinical, and a lot of people will point towards the unsustainability, but you could also say the same thing about Bernardo Silva versus Bowen. So it goes both ways. I was leaning more towards King before, and if you look at the stats and the penalties, that does also go in his favour. But I think if Dennis doesn't go to the African Cup of Nations, I think he can actually match him or actually better King over the next few game weeks, just as he has since Ranieri's come in. So Bernardo or Gundogan? Has to be Bernardo for me. Gundogan's more at risk of losing his spot from time to time due to Kevin De Bruyne coming back. Armstrong to King -4. Tough one, Arthur, but I probably would, yeah. Wan-Bissaka injury update. Yeah, I literally just talked about Dergish. It looks like he will be out for this game week. Could be back by game week 17 or 18, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be back in the starting 11. Dallo for a -4 and Ronaldo for a -8. I would mainly look at maybe getting Ronaldo in for a -4, but doing both for a -8, probably not. And yeah, there's no updates on the Norwich game postponement yet. If we get more news tomorrow, for example, of more cases for Norwich or even United, then the game could be agreed to be called off. But otherwise, let's wait and see. Thank you very much for the super chat, Peter Peters. Much appreciated. Hi, Dylan. I have Davis, Son, and Tony in my team. Only one transfer. Bench is down to Duffy, Brownhill, and Livramento. What do you recommend? -4 or -8? Thank you very much for your question and the super chat, Peter. Much appreciated. I would probably... That's tough. It's down to Duffy, Brownhill, and Livramento. Yeah, I can see why you'd probably want to take a -8. That's tough, isn't it? I would probably try to stick to a -4. But if you take a -8, that's also not too bad. But thank you. Good if you can afford it. And Ronaldo in for Tony. Aranya already said that, yeah, I think it's worth it. Son for Bernardo Silva or Sancho? Bernardo Silva, any day of the week over Sancho right now. Ronaldo only take a hit for Backman for Foster if you don't have any goalkeeper. But even then, do I expect Watford to keep a clean sheet? Probably not, actually. So I would take a -4, Rohan, but not a -8. Jota or Son to swap for Bernardo? Probably Son. I'd say Son. Yeah, Zuma's out for a while with a hamstring. Yeah, exactly, Mark. And that could be quite a big blow for West Ham, to be honest. Who to start, Jota and Boomer? I'd start Jota just in case. So really, in most cases, for people asking, should I start Jota or not? I'd start him just in case, but the likelihood is he won't play this weekend. Rashford or Bruno? I'd still go for Bruno. Force on going without Ronaldo? To be honest, you don't have to go for him because look how much money he costs. Are you going to captain him? No, you won't. But at the same time, there's not really any other premium strikers at the moment that I'd really go for. So with Ronaldo, I would probably say you don't have to go for him, but at the same time, he still could. Audio keeps cutting. Okay, thank you very much for that. I will try to get to the bottom of it, but yeah, that's quite rare for it to happen on stream. Let's see. Trying to check all the cables and stuff. But yeah, thank you very much for that. I don't want to be, speaking into nothing. Tell me if it's fine now. Mount for Jota -4, please. No, I wouldn't take a -4 for that. Yeah, like I said in the chat, let me know if it's fine now. If it is fine now, then it was probably a cable problem. On a wildcard, best 6.2 million midfielder to get, probably Smith Rowe. I mean, Gallagher's still not a bad choice, but yeah, you're mainly looking at Smith Rowe. Maybe 4 nows, but honestly, I'd rather just cover it with Bowen. Should I be worried if I only have one Man City player? Good question. I would try to get one other, but you don't have to. You don't have to triple up even, but I'd go for a double up. Thank you, Jack Knows Football. Yes, and thank you, Nabil. Yeah, that's my bad. It's probably a cable problem there. Thank you, Singh, as well. Thank you, Jammy Boy. So let's try to get through this again. Odegaard or Saka? Saka, but honestly, the way I'd rank Arsenal midfielders is Smith Rowe first, Saka second, and then maybe Martinelli third when he's fit, but it looks like Martinelli's out. Take a -8, so I have a bench option if Jota doesn't play. Yeah, I mean, it depends on which play you're bringing in, but yeah, that makes sense, Sebastian. I'm personally not going for a premium striker at the moment. Yeah, I can see why, Mark. You don't have to. That's the thing. We've seen this season, you don't have to go for a premium, so I agree. Which 3 would you play out of Jota, Gallagher, Smith Rowe, Wilson and Livramento? Good question. I'd go for Jota. Once again, I don't expect him to start. Wilson and Smith Rowe with Gallagher first sub, and I would imagine that Gallagher will come in anyway for Jota. Hi Dylan, would you take Gallagher or Smith Rowe? It's really tough. A few weeks ago, I would have definitely said Gallagher. Not too sure about that right now. Honestly though, really, I'm looking at Bowen. And other than that, I'm not a big fan of the other options. I'd still go for Gallagher, but just bear in mind, if he continues to play in this sort of deeper role, not getting into these advanced positions with really minimal XG and XA, sometimes exactly 0, then Smith Rowe would be the better choice. Bowen or Mount, same as before, Bowen for me. Should I buy Bernardo if I already have Gundogan? It depends who you bring him in for, but I think a double up is fair enough. I would probably go for it. If you don't have Bowen though, just go for Bowen and try to spread the risk there. King for captaincy. It's not the worst shout in the world, but I probably wouldn't go there. Thank you, Michael, as well, for letting me know. Is it a good idea to captain James? I think it might be this week. Leeds are in such trouble. We know Phillips for 2 months. Bamford, it looks like he's going to be out for a while. Rafinha could be their big threat up against Alonso. He could cause all sorts of problems, but other than that, you don't really expect Leeds to cause much of a fight. And James has the attacking potential. Hasn't shown it recently, but he will probably get back up to speed again. Ronaldo captain, I think it's a good option, but I would still prefer Salah. If I had both, I would still probably lean towards the Egyptian. Play Jota or Benteke. Once again, just play Jota in case. And yeah, I'll try not to answer these sorts of questions again because it's going to be the same answer all the time and I want to try to get through as many questions as possible. Start Jota. Yeah, once again, it's the same thing. If you already answered this question, I joined the stream late. Do you think Mount will play? If so, should I put him in for Jota? I think he will play. I know he started in the Champions League. That's a bit of a concern, but I would probably say he will play. And should I put him in for Jota? I'd still rather keep Jota over the next month or two. Didn't hear your thoughts on Watkins. I'd rather go for King or Dennis over Watkins, really. That's the way I look at it. Best midfielder under 7.5 million. Good question. I have to say it's Bowen right now. It's between him and Gundogan, and I'd put Bowen first. Do Kane to Werner to facilitate Bowen and Bernardo in my team. I wouldn't get Werner in, honestly. I know he did very well in the Champions League, but I wouldn't do that. Peter Peters, with your question, I would try to take a -4 if possible. Instead of the -8. But if the -8 involves doing Son down to Bowen or Bernardo and then Tony up to Ronaldo, then I would take the -8 if that's what it incurs. But I'd try to stick to a -4 in your case, Peter. Welcome, John. Backman in for Foster. I mean, the thing is, though, I don't really want to make transfers involving goalkeepers, especially when it's technically your second goalkeeper. But if you have a spare transfer, then it makes sense. Vardy for captain, I probably wouldn't. I'm still a bit iffy about Leicester. And as Denny says, there is still a risk that Vardy doesn't start. But I think Daka's out. He's got COVID, I believe. And then you look at the other options up front, it will be Iheanacho or Vardy. But I think Vardy will start against Newcastle. He already got his rest recently in the Premier League. Duffy to Silva this week. I'm going to do Tony to Watkins next week. That makes sense. If that's Thiago Silva, I'm not really a big fan of getting Thiago Silva in right now, but he has been doing well this season. Hello, should I play King, Dennis or Smith Rowe? I wouldn't bench any of the Watford players. Any of them are really quite difficult to bench, to be honest, DNNN. But if I had to rank them, it would be King or Dennis first and Smith Rowe second, but all of them are good. Thoughts on Odegaard, mate? He's been showing a bit of form recently, but honestly, I'd still rank Smith Rowe first, Saka second, and Odegaard third, potentially. He's just not someone I'm really thinking about. I don't trust Arsenal attack too much, and even Smith Rowe, there's a kind of degree of unsustainability in there, but I probably wouldn't go for Odegaard. Do we keep Vardy for this week? I would still probably keep him. If you can make a free transfer to Ronaldo, then do it, because Ronaldo's fully rested and he's facing Norwich, but otherwise, if it's a -4 or -8 for Ronaldo, then I probably would try to hold, if anything. Play Bowen, Saka or Alonso. Tough one. I mean, all of them you'd want to start, but I would probably play Bowen, especially if you already have James to cover Alonso. Kane and Gray and Tony out for King, Ronaldo and Bowen as a -8. That looks fine, Murad. I think I'd probably go for that. Son and Rafinha out for Bernardo and Bowen -4. Yep, I'd go for that. Sport 10, I would go for it. Why Salah over Ronaldo captain? Villa's a bigger threat than Norwich, but then Liverpool are much better than United. You have to look at it that way. Look at Salah's form. He's only blanked once this season. Once again, you can go for Ronaldo. I never said he's a bad option. I think he's probably top 2 or top 3 this week with Vardy and Salah, but at the same time, I just think Salah's form is absolutely incredible. And even if Liverpool win by 2 or win 2-1 or whatever, Salah will probably be involved in the goals. It's difficult. You can go for Ronaldo if you want, but I would still probably favour Salah. Having said that, if you back Ronaldo more, then go for it. I don't think it's a bad idea. Gallagher to Bone for a -4. I could do the same thing, Tommaso, but I think if you have enough squad depth, you have 11 players playing, I'd probably hold it because there is a good chance Gallagher can match Bowen this week. Whom to play, Dennis or Saka? I'd probably play Dennis, but Saka against Southampton could do pretty well. Best striker below 7.5 million have King and Antonio. Then it'd have to be between Dennis. It's tough, isn't it? Dennis or Watkins. It has to be one of them, Colin, for sure. I'm keeping Vardy for one more week. Yeah, I'm probably doing the same thing, Mark. I'm even thinking of taking a -4 next week, especially if the Leicester Spurs game is called off. Is it good if I transfer Jota to Gundogan? It's not a bad idea, but I probably wouldn't go there. Bench down to bare bones. Feel like we need more bench strength with the COVID cases. I'm reasonably happy on my bench. Livermento's not the greatest option anymore, but I'm quite happy. I've got enough squad depth. That's why I made 2 early transfers and I haven't really felt the effects. Got rid of Tony, of course, who was a COVID dow. He's going to miss probably the next game or 2 anyway. So, I think a really good bench is important. Having at least 2 options on the bench is vital. We take a -4 from Jota to Bernardo. Already made 2 free transfers other than Bowen. Once again, Melvin, I think if you have good cover on the bench, or at least someone like Gallagher or Livermento, I would probably avoid taking the hit. Start Jota or Smith Rowe. Once again, I'll just start Jota just in case, but he probably won't play anyway. Bench King or Gallagher. I would bench Gallagher. Walker or Laporte. Cancelo's a bit too pricey for me. I would probably go for Walker. I think he'll play more games, probably get more bonus points, Peter. If it was Sky, then I'd maybe lean more towards Laporte, but in FPL, I'd go for Walker. There's not much in it, though. Is it worth moving out Jota for either Bernardo or Bowen for a hit? It is worth it, potentially, Javier, but at the same time, I think Jota is worth keeping, and if he only misses one game week, I'd be happy to keep him. Was going to avoid Ronaldo, but think it's inevitable right now. After that, it's Jota to Silva or Rafinha to Bowen for hits. The latter doesn't leave much future wriggle room. Could get Bowen in game week 18 with the first. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's the thing, though. You don't have to go for Ronaldo, but he could be a very big plus. Liverpool don't lose at home. I don't expect them to lose at home anyway. I think they'll probably win by 2 or 3. Yeah, Daniel, as I just talked about to Peter, I think Walker is probably a good option from City. I'd still probably rank Diaz just ahead of him, but he is still one of the better options from City defence. Someone just called me Andy here. Yeah, the name's Dylan, but thank you very much. Son, Rashford, Benteke to Bowen, Gray, Ronaldo for a -4. I wouldn't get Gray. I know he did very well against Arsenal, but Bowen and Ronaldo I like a lot, but Gray, I probably wouldn't go there. I'd rather go for Bernardo, even Mount, Jota when he's fit, and these other choices, really. I wouldn't go for Gray, but Bowen and Ronaldo, yes. I got Kane and 2 free transfers. Would you do Rafinha, Kane and Tony to Bernardo, Bowen, Ronaldo and King, or Rafinha? Norman and Kane to Bowen, Bernardo and King. Oh, gee, that's a lot. If you choose the first set, would you get Bernardo or Bowen? Tough one. That's tough. That is tough, to be fair. I would probably go for the first set, and if I had to pick right now, I would probably go for Bernardo first, but you can get Bowen in 2 game weeks time, for example. Is it worth moving Jota out for either? Yeah, I already answered this, Javier. I think it is worth it, but you don't have to. Play Jota, Watkins, Jota. I just go for Jota, but I don't think he will start. Dallo an option? Yes, he is. I talked about him in my transfer tips and wildcard videos. Forza Mazuaku, he could be someone to look out for. Just don't expect these kind of freakish goals every so often. But yeah, I think he could be decent. I would rather go for Soufal and Johnson when he's fit, though. Fernandes for Brentford or Schmeichel? Tough one. This week, I would probably go for Fernandes, but I'm not really a big fan of either. I think both Brentford, and Leicester will concede. Vardy or Antonio? From now on, it has to be Antonio. For this game week specifically, though, that's different. I would go for Vardy. Bernardo or Gundogan? Bernardo. Do you think Laporte will play? I think it's tough. I think he will. I think he forms part of City's best defence right now. Bowen or Mount? Bowen. Start Dallo or Broja for Jota? I would go for Dallo. Hey Dylan, a whole bench disabled. Worth doing a -4. Jota for Mount. That's the thing, though. Once again, I would want to keep Jota for the next month or so over Mount. So if you're looking at that move long term, I'm not too sure of it. I'd try to look elsewhere. So maybe upgrade one of your bench players instead. Son to Mount, Grealish, Rashford or Bowen? Has to be Bowen for me. Sidindra, is it worth selling Son, Cornet, Broja, Begovic to Bernardo, Mount, Bowen, Dennis and De Gea for a -12? Or play with 10 men and don't take a hit for a goalkeeper? I'd have to say take a -8 and don't take the extra hit for... stick with 10 men rather than taking a -12 involving a goalkeeper. I wouldn't be too surprised if Norwich do score against United. Start King and Dennis? Yes, I probably would, Ted. I wouldn't want to bench them this week. Hey Dylan, I want to remove Son for Bernardo and Manquillo for Cancelo for a -4 hit. Yeah, I'd go for it, Ashraf, yep. Son plus Wilson to Gray plus Ronaldo or Jota Son to Bowen Mane? That's the thing, though. I'm not a big fan of Gray. I'd rather go for Bowen and Ronaldo, but I'm guessing you can't afford it, so it's tough. It's really tough. Bowen and Mane, it will probably prevent you from getting Ronaldo in later, and maybe a Bruno Fernandes and others, so... Has to be the first set, but I would look elsewhere than Gray right now. But Everton do have some good fixtures coming up. Would you move Kane to Ronaldo with a weak bench versus strong bench without Ronaldo? Probably a strong bench without Ronaldo, I'd say. But it's not absolutely necessary. But as you can see, especially in Game Week 16, I think a strong bench can be very helpful sometimes. It's a nice safety net. Trent is a must in my team. Thoughts? Right now, on current form, I mean, he did just win the Player of the Month. I think Salah and Trent look like the closest to essential that you can get. I think Salah over the season is definitely undeniable. Everyone else you can make a case. I think you can go without Trent and do well. So I've seen a lot of people without him doing extremely well in very good ranks. So I don't think it's a must-have. Get Mane instead of Jota. It's not a bad idea, but I probably wouldn't Neo. Also, especially if the African Cup of Nations does take place, then I just don't think it's worth it. If I don't sell Rafinha this week, would you hold all the way through or still get rid for Bowen later? I'd still get rid for Bowen, Marco. I have a wildcard. Should I keep Jota? On a wildcard, it makes sense not to go for Jota, but you can bring him in a week or two. So on a wildcard, I wouldn't go for him. Should I keep Jota if possible? Yes, I'd say so. But on a wildcard, that's different. Yeah, just going to kind of deal with any spammers. I don't want to have that. Is it worth taking a hit for Smith Rowe? It depends who you get rid of, Ashish. I'm guessing it's for Jota, but yeah, I think it could be worth it, but Smith Rowe is not really someone I'm that confident about. If it was Bowen, I'd be a bit more willing to do so. Yorang says, hey Dylan, I have Ramsdale Foster. Let's see, 1.2 million in the bank. Suggestions. So your attack is reasonably fine. I think in the next few weeks, I'd look to do Broja up to a King or Dennis. And other than that, your midfield looks pretty good, but Gallagher up to Bowen looks pretty simple. And if you ever need money, which you don't necessarily need right now, but I think Alonso, a downgrade from him to a Soufal or a Dallo, that could also be on the cards. But yeah, that's really the only suggestions I would go for, Yorang. And in terms of who to prioritise, I'd go for one of the Watford attackers first, in for Broja, and also Bowen in for Gallagher within the next 3 game weeks or so. Other than that, Yorang, it looks pretty good. Son to Bowen for a -4. I probably would go for it, yeah. Have you ever done a -8? Yes, I have. Not this season, I believe. Although I might be wrong about that, but I've definitely done it in years gone by. I've taken a lot of hits. And one thing I've realised is, the more you try to narrow it down and try to avoid the hits, I think just the better your team is, you're in a better position. I think sometimes the hits can go the wrong way and you lose even more points on top of the hit you have incurred. So I have taken hits, just not this season really. I've taken maybe the odd -4. Will you change Jota? No, I'm going to keep things as they are, really. I already used my 2 free transfers. I brought in Dennis and Bernardo Silva. I brought them in very early, probably before most of their price rises, really. So the way I'm looking at it right now is I probably won't make another transfer, and I will just have Gallagher come on for Jota if needed. And other than that, in the coming weeks, I will then deal with Vardy and a few other problems in my squad, like Gallagher potentially. So, yeah. Once again, midfielders for 5.2 million, there's not really anyone. I just go for the 4.5s really, because you're looking at someone like Henderson maybe or Fred, but do you really want them in your team? Probably not. Subbing Tomiyasu for Jota, bear in mind starting Ramsdale. That's fine, just start Jota in case, and yeah, Tomiyasu will probably come in anyway. I don't think Ronaldo will get that much because of how close the games are. Yeah, I mean, I think Ronaldo will do well, but I don't think he's absolutely essential. Having said that, in a week or two, we could change our mind. Son and Vardy for Bernardo or Foden, and Ronaldo for a hit. Not Vardy to Ronaldo this week for a hit. I'd just keep it as it is. If you don't think Vardy will start, then the hit is worth it, but it can always backfire. I think Vardy will start and do well. Jota injured? Yeah, he's got a muscle injury, Cyril, and he hasn't trained yesterday, and I don't think he's trained today. I need to double check that. If anyone does know, then let me know in the live chat, but yeah, I've literally just come live, and anything that's happened probably in the last hour or two, I've probably not been made aware of. But before that, I've seen the general gist of all these press conferences, and Jota is a big doubt for this weekend. I got Dallo. Is that a good move in your opinion? I think so. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but yeah, I think he is a good choice. I mean, he's only 4.4 million. How likely is that United's fixture will get postponed? Right now, I'd say it's a 25% chance. Obviously, it's impossible to give a exact percentage to it, but several Norwich players do have the virus apparently, and staff, I believe. I'm not sure exactly how many players and staff, but if it gets to similar numbers to Spurs, for example, then there is a good chance the game will be called off. With Spurs, Brighton, it was a bit easier for both parties to agree because Brighton had a lot of injuries and suspensions as well, so it benefited both clubs to kind of call that game off. Thoughts on Sissoko and Broja on the bench? I think Broja's pretty decent. Sissoko's just that bench fodder option you don't really want to come on, really. But Broja's not too bad, but I'd look to probably improve on that, James, yeah. Son and Vardy for Bernardo or Foden and Ronaldo for a hit. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. And also, I'd rather go for Bernardo over Foden right now. Foden's still a bit of an injury doubt. And I wouldn't get rid of Vardy for a hit this week. How many Spurs games do you think will be postponed? Any expectations? Well, I'm not too sure, but I think at least one more. I think the Leicester one against Spurs. Liverpool, that might just be, in time for that to happen, but I think one more. So it'll be 3 overall if you count the Burnley game as well, although that was for a completely different reason. Who should be first bench, Watkins or Hwang? I would probably go for Watkins, but it's not really... I'd expect both to blank, but I'd go for Watkins first. Start Smith Rowe or Dallo? I'd still start Smith Rowe, yeah. Sell Ronaldo to afford Bernardo Silva and Trent? Bit of an odd time to get rid of Ronaldo. The only way I can see that transfer paying off is if the United game is called off. Or he blanks, of course, but I probably wouldn't sell Ronaldo at this point. But of course, if you can get Bernardo Silva, Trent, and improve the rest of your squad, then it's very tempting. But I just don't really think it's the right time now. Welcome, Arif, and welcome to others who have just recently joined. Is the deadline up? No, the deadline is at 6:30, and that's why we started at 6. So yeah. Do you think Jesus will play? That's the thing though with Jesus. Most weeks I'm just not too sure of. I'd honestly sell him regardless. Yeah, I'd actually take an extra hit and upgrade him to Ronaldo. Just bear in mind, you never know what could happen in Man United versus Norwich. Norwich have some COVID cases. Hi Dylan, Gallagher to Bowen Bernardo for a -4 and bench Jota. That's an interesting question, mate. I probably would, and I'd take a -4 for Bernardo, Sandeep. Dylan, thanks for the info. Appreciate the content you're putting out. Great stuff. Pray I don't take no more hits. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Michael. And yeah, hits isn't ideal. They can pay off sometimes, but you don't want to, chase this or get into this rabbit hole where you just constantly take these hits. But yeah, hopefully no more hits for the time being. And good luck to you as well, Michael. Thank you very much for tuning in. Just at a -8, Sanchez and Reguilon to De Gea and James. Fair enough. I'm not a big fan of taking hits for goalkeepers, but this does make sense. Sanchez is missing out this week, and De Gea has great fixtures long term. Rafinha to Bowen. Yep, I think so. Shiraz, that was the plan for me, if not Bernardo Silva, and I ended up getting Bernardo Silva. Ronaldo captain, why not? I mean, why not? I think the only things I'd say against it is Salah's amazing form, Liverpool being much better than United. You never know what you're going to get from Manchester United, and also the odd chance of Norwich versus United being called off due to COVID. Right now, I don't think that's going to happen, but that could easily develop in the next day or two. Should I get rid of Smith Rowe for a hit? No, I wouldn't. I'd keep Smith Rowe. I think you'll be fine, Sean. Man United versus Norwich postponed due to COVID. There is a chance, Murad, but I wouldn't say it's extremely likely right now, but that could easily change. Rafinha to Bowen, Kane to Ronaldo, and Armstrong to King for a -4. I think that's fine. I would go for that Shiraz. Yeah, that looks very good. Why is my FPL page unavailable? Let me know, by the way. Yeah, page out. I've seen some people have some issues recently with the page on Twitter, I believe. So, yeah, it's very important the page should come back up very soon, so don't worry too much. Don't panic, but just wait and see. It should come up available again, but try, as soon as the page is available, make your transfers and sort out your team, the captaincy and everything, and then you're pretty much good to go. Jota for Mount or Bowen, has to be Bowen, but you don't have to get rid of Jota. And yeah, for anyone who's saying help me or anything, obviously put your question forward and I'll try to answer it. I'm trying to get through as many questions as possible. But in terms of helping you out with the page, I'm literally I haven't refreshed the page yet. So let me actually show you, just so you can see it's not, me getting favor or anything. Oh, look, the page is back up, apparently. So try it now. It should work. I was literally going to say I don't get favored and the page is down for me as well, but it is working, it seems. But yeah, in terms of future transfers, we'll probably save that for the reaction streams and also the team selection videos. But right now, my team for this week is pretty much sorted. I don't want to overcomplicate it. Will Vardy play? I believe so, Murad. Villa smashed Liverpool last season. Yeah, but that was at Villa Park. At Anfield, that wasn't the case. I think Liverpool won't demolish Villa. I think they'll win by maybe 2 or 3. It could even be a 2-1. It could be a tight game, but I expect Salah to do very well. Made my free transfer for Kyle Walker, then took a hit to get King. Now I'm stuck with Son on the bench. Yeah, that's why early transfers are very risky, and that's coming from someone who just made 2 free transfers, John. But yeah, I mean, these things can happen. The deadline is up. I'm not sure about that, mate. Obviously, I'll double check, but it's 6:30. Yeah, we've got 40 minutes left. The deadline, yeah, we've got plenty of time. Don't worry. But yeah, the page is acting up a little bit. The FPL app is crashed. I'll check the app, but I wouldn't be too surprised. I'm not sure why exactly, because it's been fairly decent for the last year or so, but yeah, we'll wait and see. Bowen for Jota -4. I would try to avoid that here, but I think Bowen, if you were to take a hit and you were to do that, I think that makes sense. And by the way, my app is working fine. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly why it's not working for some people. Start Hwang or Livramento. Out of those two, I'd start Livramento, but I'm not a big fan of either. And let me just double check something with the cables. I want to see... Okay. Yeah, I just want to see why it was kind of bugging out earlier, so to speak. But yeah, best captaincy options, just to keep it simple, I think it's between Salah, Ronaldo and Vardy. And if you were to add another few names to the mix, I think Reece James or Cancelo could do extremely well this week too. But those three are definitely my top three. Hello Dylan, please choose one, Townsend, Gallagher or Gray. Out of those three, I would rather have Gallagher, honestly. Although you have to admit that Everton do have some good fixtures coming up. Son and Jesus to Ronaldo and Bowen. Yep, Ronaldo, I would go for that. Do that transfers. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, hits flying everywhere this week. Exactly, it's kind of hits galore. I'm quite happy not to have taken one. I took one in UCL Fantasy and actually backfired. So yeah, hits can always, it can go one of two ways. Hopefully people do well, but obviously if you don't take a hit, you have an advantage slightly, at least going into the week. -8 for Bernardo and Bowen, says George Tip. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably worth it. It just depends on who you get rid of, but I'm guessing Jota's one of them. And if that's the case, I would try to limit it to a -4. Should I bench Jota or Sufa? Once again, any questions about should I bench Jota, just start him in case, but the likelihood is he won't play this week. Mount, a good choice. He is, Javier, but I would rather go for others, such as Bernardo Silva, Bowen, and Jota, when he's fit, of course. Vardy captain, what do you think? I don't think it's a bad shout. He's in my top 3 captaincy options this week, but I would still probably not go there. Leicester they don't fill me with confidence. Then I look at Vardy. There is the odd chance, although I don't think it will happen. There's still the odd chance he doesn't start. So yeah, Salah, Ronaldo captain. I'd still go for Salah. The way I rank it is Salah first, Ronaldo second, Vardy third. But really, if you look at the fixture purely, it's Vardy or Ronaldo on top. Kane, Rafinha and Reguilon to King, Bernardo and Diaz for a -4. Yeah, I think it's worth it. You could also consider maybe downgrading Reguilon to a Lamptey or Dallo, Ali, and then that gives you more money to play with later on. But yeah, I think that's fine. Those 3 transfers are good. Who would you start? Livramento or Gallagher? Gallagher. Broja or Rafinha first bench? Tough one. That's really tough, actually. Because normally I'd say Rafinha, but you have to look at the fixture as well, don't you? I'd actually put Broja first. I think he's more likely to score against Arsenal. Ramsdale, De Gea, I would go for Ramsdale, but De Gea is also a good choice. Yeah, is Odegaard an option? He's not a bad choice, but once again, from Arsenal, he wouldn't even be in my top 2, and I think there are better choices around a similar price, so I wouldn't go there. But he's not the worst option in the world. I just don't expect him to continue this kind of form he's showing. Is Jota going to play? Obviously, I'm not completely sure, Coutinho, but I don't think he will play. I don't think so. Rafinha or Livramento to play? That's interesting. That's very interesting. Probably still Livramento, but it doesn't really make sense, does it, with Rafinha's form? Welcome, Genius Gamer. Start Rafinha or White? Tough one. I would start White. Yeah, I'd start White. Bowen or Saka? Definitely Bowen. Pulisic or Havertz? I mean, I would go for neither, honestly, but if you had to pick one... Right now, Pulisic, but the reason why I never go for him is he's injury prone, and then I would rather go for Mason Mount if you want a Chelsea midfielder. Livramento or Rafinha? Maybe Livramento, but it's 50-50. Will Jota play? I don't think so. And will he play against Newcastle? The way I see it is he will miss out in Game Week 16 and he'll be back by Game Week 17 or 18. Don't hold me to that. It's just my opinion. I could be wrong. And I'm kind of basing my decisions off that piece of information. I don't want to take an extra hit. But I think Jota will miss out based on what we've seen today. King or Dennis? I have gone for Dennis. I think it's 50-50. The penalties, no African Cup of Nations for sure in terms of King, and also the better underlying stats would go in his favour. But Dennis is the better player, and on the eye test, definitely catches my eye. He's more clinical, and I think the stats are relatively unsustainable. But I think he will still outperform King. That's the way I see it. There is 0.1 million price difference, so that doesn't really factor in. But I would go for Dennis. I've gone for Dennis myself. But if you look at it logically and at the numbers, then it has to be King. But I don't think football's all about numbers. And that's why I sometimes don't always abide by those rules and also guidelines. Wei saying, which 2 would you get rid of next week? I would say Saint-Maximin definitely, and Son, Wei Seng. I would get rid of Son and Saint-Maximin. Is it worth a -4 for Benteke to King? Good question. I think it's worth it, yeah. But you can always afford to wait another week and do it for free. But I would probably, I think the hit is worth it. Trent or James captain? I think this week I would actually favour James. But if you look at the form, Liverpool are keeping more clean sheets and Trent is looking much better than James at the moment. But I think the fixture and the circumstances surrounding Leeds United, I think they do favour James a lot. Start Jota or Vardy? Start both, mate, just in case. But if I had to pick one, it has to be Vardy. Antonio or Salah for captain? Salah. Do you think Greenwood and Watkins will be good? Yes, especially Watkins. Greenwood will be in and out of the side, I believe. I don't think he's going to start every single game. Obviously very impressive in the Champions League, but that was pretty much a second fiddle team. So that does give you an indication of where he is in terms of Ralf Rangnick's plans right now. That could change with some goals and Greenwood being as clinical as he normally is. But I think Watkins is mainly the one to look out for, Sharia, from the ones you mentioned. Gaeta for Sanchez? Honestly, I wouldn't. I would rather keep Sanchez long term. I know he's missing out this week. You reckon Mason Mount starting this week? I believe so, yeah. Unless there's some injury news that happened or something that I missed out on. But, assuming he's fit, I think he will start, yeah. Start one of Smith Rowe, Jota and Mbumo. I mean, Smith Rowe, I guess, because Jota won't start, in my opinion. But like with all these Jota questions, I would start Jota in case. But Smith Rowe would be above Mbumo in the pecking order, no doubt about it. Best 6.7 million striker, not King. It has to be Dennis because I look at the others. Tony's got COVID. Then Benteke perhaps. But the other options, Pukki, yeah, not too bad. And Wilson, but I wouldn't get Wilson in right now. So ultimately, it has to be Dennis. Hey Dylan, would you go for a 4.4 striker or Broja for 5? Tough one. I probably would rather go for Broja. And if you can help it, I'd go for a King or Dennis instead. But what I would say with these kind of budget strikers, I would try to be careful having two of them, so a Broja and a King or Dennis, because it's hard to get out of that if you want to upgrade to a Calvert-Lewin, Bamford, Watkins, etc. So bear that in mind, but I would rather have Broja over a 4.4 if possible, yeah, definitely. Diaz versus Alonso, right now has to be Diaz. Okay, so Wei Seng wants to see the prices, so I'll get the prices up right now. I don't really pay too much attention to this, but it is important to have it into account sometimes. So in terms of who is expected to go up today, Bernardo Silva, he is nearly at 200%, so that means he's almost definitely going to rise tonight. Dennis is another one, Mason Mount. So actually that Dennis King debate, once again, they're going to be level pegging in terms of price. Mason Mount's another one. Diego Dalla will go up to 4.5. Antonio now starting to creep up into our thoughts. Reece James, Fred, everyone, kind of buying the hype, and Cristiano Ronaldo. A few others that could go up in price are Joao Cancelo, Locadia from Brighton, Damari Gray. A lot of people are very impressed by his performance against Arsenal. Gay, Bowen, Maddison, Gabriel, Henry, Robertson, Broja, they're all kind of entering the fray. Even Sancho and Carson. I wouldn't really think about Carson too much, but all those options could rise in the next few days. But the first batch that I mentioned, they looked like they could be going up. In terms of who's going down, Region, Son, Kane, so you're not too surprised there. Smith Rowe's another, Rafinha, Dunk, Ings, Ben Mee, Townsend, Anderson. And these are all 100% by the way, so it's a good chance they will go down. Dallas, Darlow, Lallana, Martinez, Target, Marcel, Bailey, Kante, Milivojevic. But yeah, a lot of these that I just mentioned we're not really thinking about in FPL, but interesting to see. A lot of people already getting rid of the Spurs assets, and Smith Rowe, that's a bit surprising to be fair. Dallow or Gabriel, has to be Dallow for me. Start Jota or Alonso, once again just start Jota in case, but he will probably just not start. Do I do Dennis or Watkins for Vardy? Don't get rid of Vardy for a -4, mate, honestly. Don't do that, Lipex. Should I keep Rafinha because I can't afford Bernardo, or would you change for someone else, says Jack. Bowen, if you don't have Bowen, I'd do Rafinha to Bowen. I think that's easy. Otherwise, then you don't have to, I guess. Out of Mbumo, Jota, Smith Rowe and White, which two should I play? Jota and Smith Rowe. Dennis or King and why? I've already talked about this in detail, Javier, in all my videos. If you want a very detailed breakdown, then check out my transfer tips videos and all that, and also the best wildcard team video where I talk about the stats and all of that. But I've gone for Dennis purely because I think he's a better finisher. He's better on the eye test, and I think he's just... I know he doesn't get as many chances as King, and the stats all point towards King. He's on penalties, and there's no African Cup of Nations, but I think there is a chance Dennis doesn't go to the AFCON, and if that is the case, I think he can easily match King or outscore him. What my kind of decision was purely based on was who do I think is the better player, who will score more goals and assists, and I've gone for Dennis, and obviously if you look at the stats and you kind of break them down, King would be the better choice on paper, but look at so far this season, with all these stats in King's favour, Dennis has over 20 points more in FPL, so I'd still go for Dennis. It's 50-50, go for either one of them. They're going to probably be the same price by tomorrow. If you had Ronaldo, would you captain him? I'd probably vice-captain him. Antonio Wilson for this game week. I wouldn't want to bench either. I have a good feeling about Wilson actually against Leicester, but for this week specifically, I don't know, I have a feeling about Wilson. I don't know why. I just have a feeling, but would I bench Antonio against Burnley? No, I wouldn't. So I'd go for Antonio, but I wouldn't want to bench either. Gundogan or Rashford? Gundogan for me. United option, Dalot and who else? De Gea in goal. Then it was obviously Bruno Fernandes in midfield and Ronaldo up front. That's the kind of names I'm thinking about right now. Firmino's supposed to be back soon. He's already back in training. I'm not sure if he's necessarily available just yet, but it looks like he's going to be back very soon. Do you think if Jota misses this one and the next, is it worth keeping him? Good question. I still think it's worth keeping him because despite all this rotation that's imminent for Jota at some point, I think he can do very well, even with limited minutes. And also when he does start, I think he's just, for that price, playing up front for Liverpool, it's just a gem. Bernardo -4 for Rafinha, says Genius Gamer. You don't have to, but I think it's worth the hit, Genius Gamer, so I'd say yeah. Shaw or Gabriel? Shaw, I don't think he's even going to play this week. I think it's more likely that it will be Telles. I would go for neither, and I'd go for Dalot. And if you want someone from Arsenal, it would be White. I don't think Shaw or Gabriel are the ones to go for. Who should I buy first? Dalot or Ronaldo? Can get both, but don't want to do it for a hit. Says Coopsy Coop. I would go for Ronaldo first. I don't think Dalot's a priority. I'm probably overthinking this, but Vardy to Ronaldo for a free transfer. For a free transfer, I'd be a bit more, open to the idea. But I think Vardy could match Ronaldo this week if he does start. So I wouldn't do it myself, but I can see why you're doing it. And long term, it's definitely worth it. But you can maybe afford to wait another week. Sanchez and Alonso out for Dalot and Ramsdale for a -4. Tough one. I probably would just do Sanchez to Ramsdale for free. Don't take a hit then, basically. So do Sanchez to Ramsdale. I think it's actually just a better move long term. Save the hit and maybe get Dalot in next week, and that can give you the funds for another move. Jesus out for Dennis or King for a -4. I literally just spoke about this. Either one is fine. I've gone for Dennis. I think he will do better, but that's based on a kind of personal opinion. It's not based on facts or numbers. And if you look at the numbers, then King would look like the better option going forward. I'm starting Jota. I'm not changing anything. Pretty much what you see here. I'm starting Jota just in case. If he comes on for a one-pointer, so be it. But it's not like I'm expecting too much from Gallagher or Livramento anyway. But I think I'll just stick to what I have right now. Do you think Aspi will start? I don't think so. Will Bernardo start? Yes, he was rested in Champions League midweek. 4.5 million midfielder, the same as I said in my wildcard video. It's between Gilmour, Douglas Luiz, and Jacob Ramsey. Those three, yeah. Dalot to Region for a hit. I'm guessing it's the other way around. It's not a bad idea. I think if you're down to 10 men, then yes, I'd do it. Otherwise, just stick to it and don't take the hit. Jesus out for Dennis for a -4. Tough one. I probably would go for it, yeah. Already done a -8. Should I do it -12? Jota to Bernardo? Yeah. I probably wouldn't. I mean, a -8 is already bordering, excessive. And if you already have enough squad depth, why take another hit when you could just cover that for this week and then maybe bring in Bernardo next week for someone else? So I probably wouldn't. Watkins hat-trick against Liverpool? No, I don't think so. He's playing at Anfield. I just don't see it. Hey, Dylan Forson, Son, Tony and Norman out for King, Bowen and Bernardo. -8. I still think the transfers are really good though, long term. I think, yeah, I'd go for it. Region out for Kyle Walker for a -4. Once again, I think if you can afford it, maybe don't take the hit and have someone come off your bench. But yeah, I think long term, I think Walker is a really good choice. Is it just me who thinks Tierney at 4.7 is a bargain? As things stand, I don't think so. Arsenal have been very poor recently, and Tierney should be first choice, but he's also injury prone, so I would actually stay clear. I'd rather go for Tomiyasu or Ben White, and also obviously Ramsdale in goal, so I probably wouldn't. Should you start Jota over Livramento? I just do it in case. Obviously, it's up to you what you do, but I would just start Jota, and if he doesn't start, then he probably won't come on anyway. Vardy captain, not the worst idea. I think you already asked this question already, and yeah, it's not a bad choice. He's in my top 3 captaincy options this week, but not over Salah for me. Should I get rid of Jota or Gallagher? Tough one. Yeah, if you don't have any adequate bench options. I mean, I've gone for Bernardo Silva first over Bowen, especially if you already have Antonio. You can start to get Bowen in 2 game weeks' time. Yeah, I'd go for Bernardo first, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't think there's a right or wrong. As long as you get both of them in, I don't think it's a question of one or the other. It's just who you get first. And who you get rid of, I probably would still get rid of Gallagher over Jota. It can backfire if Gallagher is out for several weeks, or should I say Jota's out for several weeks or several matches even. Jota to Rashford, I wouldn't do that, mate. I still, even with Jota with limited minutes, I think he's a better option than Rashford right now anyway. Captain Ronaldo, it's a good option. Once again, anyone asking about should I captain Vardy or Ronaldo, I think go for it if you really back them over Salah, but don't just captain them for the sake of being different. Captain them if you think they're going to outscore Salah. If you do, then go for it. I think it actually could be a nice choice. Best replacement for Son, I think around the same price. It has to be either Bruno Fernandes or Sadio Mane, but I would rather go down and go to a Bernardo Silva, Bowen. Jota, of course, when he's fit, but he's not right now, so it has to be Bernardo or Bowen. So I'd go for one of those. Bernardo or Trent for captaincy? No, Salah. Out of those two, I'd go for Bernardo, but I'm not really too sure of either of them. I'd rather captain Vardy or Ronaldo over those two. Kane, Tony Jimenez to Ronaldo, King Antonio for a -4. That looks perfectly fine. Yep. King Dennis and Tomiyasu in for Saint-Maximin and Manquillo for a -4. Yeah, I think that's fine. I'd probably go for it. You don't have to take the hit involving Manquillo to Tomiyasu. You could wait for next week, but that looks good. Region out for a -4. Only have Brownhill on my bench and doubt Jota will play. Yeah, in that case, I'd take him out for a -4. Lee Harris, yeah. Jota to Mount for -4 only. One bench player that can play. In that case, I can see why you're doing it, but I would rather just upgrade your bench if possible, or upgrade someone else. But, you know, Jota is probably missing out this week. Dylan, Jota to start is a far cry, better change. But that's the thing, the way I see it is Jota will either start, which is very unlikely, by the way, or he's not going to play at all. And if Jota, in the very unlikely case that he does start, I would want him in my starting 11, not on my bench. So that's the way I'm playing it. And yeah, of course, I can see why people are constantly asking about Jota. Yeah, will Jota play? I don't think he will play. I've just got him in case. Saka or Gray? I'd actually prefer Saka, but Bowen is the best one around the same price. Yeah, Bernardo was rested in the Champions League. Does Walker make sense on a wild card? I think so. It does. I would rather balance it out, so go for James, Cancelo, Trent, and then maybe some cheaper defenders like Dalot. I've already made a best wildcard team video. If you want, check it out. I made it the other day for Gameweek 16 specifically. I would go for that sort of structure with kind of 2 bench or cheap options in the fence rather than maybe a Diaz or a Walker, but you can do that. Jota and Gallagher to Bernardo and Bowen for a -8. Yeah, I'd probably go for it, Javier. Do you think I should go Jota to Silva and Vardy to Ronaldo? Jota to Silva, yes, because it looks like he's going to be out this week, but Vardy to Ronaldo, maybe wait for next week. Son to Sterling. Yeah, Sterling's another one who's been creeping up on our radar, but I probably wouldn't go there. Honestly, I wouldn't go there. I'd rather go for Bernardo Silva or Gundogan if he can stay nailed. At the start of the season, I went for fixtures and not form. I think I have to change that approach now. It's difficult. You can't generalize it that way, but I can see what you mean. Sometimes you look at the fixtures, you target them, you go for a Kane, for example, and then he just doesn't do it. The fixtures don't translate into form, which is the general principle behind it. So I think it's finding that balance between fixtures and form. You can't ignore form. That's as simple as that. Yeah, Rickson, I already answered your question, I think probably several times now. I don't think Jota will play. Start Jota or Armstrong? I just start Jota. If Jota is fine for next week, do we keep? I think so. Just bear in mind that Firmino will take some minutes out from him. Smith Rowe or Mbeumo on a wild card? I'd go for Smith Rowe. I wouldn't go for Mbeumo. I definitely wouldn't be thinking about him. First sub, Jota or Rafinha? I mean, I'd just go for Jota, but it doesn't really matter, I think, in the grand scheme of things. I don't think Jota will play. That's the way I see it. Buy Origi or Broja? Probably Broja. I don't think Origi's pretty much a option long term. Firmino's back very soon, if not maybe this week even. And Jota shouldn't be out for too long, so I probably wouldn't go for Origi. -8 Bernardo and Bone looks fine to me, George. Jota to Bernardo and Vardy to Ronaldo. Yep, answered that already. Is Rashford to Son a good move? It's not a bad move. Yeah, Rashford could be a really nice differential, but I probably wouldn't go there. I already talked about this. I'd rather go for Bernardo Silva, Bowen, Jota when he's fit, Mason Mount, these sorts of options. I don't think Rashford necessarily justifies his price tag. And when Son is available, let's say the Spurs game isn't called off in Game Week 17, I'd actually rather have Son. But obviously you're looking at this week. I completely understand that. But still, I don't know if that move is worth it long term. Rashford or Gundogan, still Gundogan for me. Son to Bernardo and Jesus to Ronaldo for a -8. Yep, I'd go for that too. -12 early, but now my team without Sanchez and Jota and Reguilon. Damn, should I do another -4? I mean, a -16 is just way too excessive. Whenever I've taken hits like that, and I've ultimately done it for fun, really, it just never pays off. Even in the long term, the hit just isn't justified. So I just keep it as it is. Obviously, I can understand your logic. You've already gone so deep. Why not go an extra -4? What bad will that do? But I just don't think it's worth it. Start 2 Jota, Foden, Smith Rowe. I still start Jota and Foden, but ultimately I think one of them will come off for Smith Rowe, and probably it will be Jota. Who's the best option under 8 million this week? That's a great question. I think Mason Mount is actually a really good choice. We've only got 80 minutes left of the deadline. Let's actually do something quite different. So let's actually check the fixtures and then build the best team. Obviously, I tend to do that in the previews and also other videos like the best free hit team, but let's actually do that now. So in goal, I'd actually be tempted to say Ramsdale is the best goalkeeper this week. Looking at the other games, De Gea is another one, but I would probably just say Ramsdale. Just ignore Foster, whatever. I just put Ramsdale. In terms of defenders, I would go for James Cancelo Trent as always, and I would probably go for Diego Dallo. So very similar to my wildcard so far. Pretty much the exact same. In terms of the fifth defender, really, that's where it gets a bit trickier. Obviously, Lamptey, you can't really count on him, and he was facing Spurs anyway. This is tough, actually. If I want a cheap defender, that is. I'd actually think of Soufal perhaps, but either way, we'll think about that later. We'll go for the midfielders. Jota doesn't look like he's going to start this week, so Salah, Bernardo, Bowen. Yeah, but I think Mount is definitely one I'd go for this week. If I could pick a team every week, I would definitely go for Mount. Unfortunately, my mouse is lagging. I don't know why, or if it's the website. Let's see. So, yeah, this is tough. Obviously, ideally, I'd love to have Vardy and Ronaldo. Would that be possible? Let's wait and see. Let me see if I have enough budget for that. But yeah, in terms of budget strikers, I would probably look towards Dennis or King. So yeah, minus 2.3 off we are. So yeah, obviously I wouldn't go for Gallagher, I think, this week. He could do alright though. I wouldn't discount him completely, but yeah. You know what, actually? I think what I would do, I mean, it's tough to have Ronaldo and Vardy, isn't it? I would actually just go, instead of Vardy, I'd go for Antonio, go for Ronaldo, and maybe Maddison to cover Leicester in this pretty good fixture, but I think I'd be a bit off. Oh no, exactly enough money. Bearing in mind though, I'm not too sure about Livramento. In terms of the 4.4, 4.5 million midfielder, I mean, it's between Douglas Luiz, really, Jacob Ramsey, and Billy Gilmore maybe. So any one of those doesn't really matter. But yeah, in terms of the fifth defender, let me know who you'd go for over Livramento for around 4.3 million. But I'd go for something like this week. But yeah, just a little kind of insight into who I think the best options are this week. I think either Maddison or Vardy or Bruno and Ronaldo, one of those could do very well. But it's very difficult to nail down exactly who will be the highest scorer. We'll go for any last questions and comments here. Yeah, will Jota play or not? I don't think he will, but it's just my opinion. I can't give you a fact here. And in most cases, I'd play Jota, but just bear in mind you probably won't even start anyway, so your decision doesn't really have too much consequence in the end. Will Smith Rowe play? Yes, I think so. It looks like he's been training this week, according to Arteta, and also according to reports and training pictures. So he should have a good chance of starting. Martinelli's the one who is out. Best West Ham mid. it's definitely Bowen. Fornals is the closest one, I think. Then maybe Benrahma a little way behind, but I think it has to be Bowen first, Fornals second, and Benrahma third. Ronaldo or Fernandes? Right now, I'd say Ronaldo, especially looking at team structure. But in the coming weeks, I think Bruno Fernandes could make a very nice claim to go for him. I think he could actually be someone worth looking at. Watkins, Livramento, Hwang, bench order. That's tough. I mean, probably Hwang third. Livramento, that's tough, you know. I probably would go with Livramento first, Watkins second, but it's tough. Is Lanzini good? Yeah, Lanzini's another one, but I would rather go for Bowen. I think he's got the better stats, and Lanzini's in and out of the team. He's also injury prone, so I would go for Bowen. Would you start Foden over Alonso, Bowen, or Antonio? Good question. Probably over Alonso, but yeah, that could backfire, especially if he comes off the bench. Jota out on a wild card? Yes, on a wild card, I would bring him out, to be honest. Of course I see Ronaldo as a potential goal scorer this week, but I'm not going to take a -8. In my case, I'd have to take a -8 to get him in, so no. Jota to Bernardo Silva, yes. Reguilon or Jota? Jota. Reguilon's not going to play anyway, Johan Cruyff. That game got suspended. Thank you very much. Wow, antidepressants. Thank you very much. Love this channel. Obviously, I just read out the name. Bit of a juxtaposition there, but yeah, thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. -8 for Jota to Bowen. No, I would say no. Play White or Jota? Jota. Who to start? Yeah, any questions about who to start, Jota or this? I'd go for Jota, really. But just bear in mind, he probably won't start or be in the squad, really. Get Bowen or Dennis? Tough one. I don't know who you're getting rid of, but I would probably say Dennis. But yeah, longer term, you have to say Bowen is probably the better pick out of the two. But you can always get Bowen in 2 game weeks' time. And also, if you have Tony, it just makes more sense to do Tony to Dennis right now. Would you -12 for a goalkeeper as I don't have one? No. I try not to -12 in most cases, to be honest. In most cases, yeah. Play White or Jota? Yeah, Jota. Once again, just Jota. All these questions. I'll try not to go through them again because it's quite repetitive. Play Barnes on a wild card? On a wild card, I wouldn't get Barnes, honestly. He's only got one good fixture, really. And as John says a few comments down, I mean, Leicester have a lot of cases themselves. They maybe could also have their game against Spurs postponed in Game Week 17. And you never know, maybe Game Week 16 too. So it is risky doing that. I probably wouldn't. Bench Alonso or Dalot? Good question. I'd probably bench Dalot. Captain Ronaldo is a good option. I think he's a good option. I'd say he's second this week. Obviously, discounting Salah, he's arguably first, I'd say. Him and Vardy, but yeah, I'd only go for Ronaldo. And this sounds simple, but honestly, a lot of people actually don't follow this kind of line of thought. Captain the player you think is going to get the most points. Don't captain someone for the sake of being different. Don't captain someone because of effective ownership. Just captain the one you think is going to get the most points. If you think Ronaldo is, go for him. I think he's a good choice this week. I personally think he is one of the best options this week, but maybe not the best. Is Soufal good? Yes, he is. If you want someone for 4.7 million, I'd probably be looking at him, Kai. Transferring Dalot or Soufal? Great question. I probably would go for Dalot at this moment in time, but there is the odd chance that Wan-Bissaka does take his place. Let's see how Ben Johnson's injury is in the long term, but yeah, I'd say Dalot right now. Thank you, FPL Devils, and also for tuning in for my videos as well recently. Much appreciated. Bench Alonso or Dalot? Yeah, I'd bench Dalot in that case. Bowen or Antonio this week? Tough one, actually. I'm not too sure who's going to pop up for West Ham. I have a feeling it could be someone like Fornals, actually, who does the business this week, but I'm trying to think about... I think it'd probably be Antonio. I'm a bit more confident in Antonio this week, but in terms of certain games, and if you look at recent games, of course, you would favour Bowen, but I don't know. I think the way Burnley play might suit Antonio more. I could be completely wrong. Is Wilson to Antonio worth a -4? Great question. I probably wouldn't, because Wilson against Leicester, who, bear in mind, they haven't kept a clean sheet since Game Week 1, I don't think I would get rid of Wilson right now. Probably next week. Do it for free, even though Antonio is facing Arsenal. We've taken a -4 for Douglas Luiz to sit on the bench in case Jota doesn't start. No, a -4 for Douglas Luiz will probably only get you 2 to 3 points. You're losing points there. Probably not. Obviously, if Douglas Luiz does score or something, you'll probably, try to locate where I live and try to kill me or something. But yeah, I probably wouldn't take a hit for Douglas Luiz. Is it worth a -4 to get Bernardo for Son? Yeah, 11 decent players and 2 on the bench. Tough question. I actually would rather have Bernardo long term than Son, so yes, I'd go for it, but you don't have to, as you pretty much point out there. Dylan doing a great job with quickfire responses. Press the like button. Thank you very much, Mark. And as he says, if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. We haven't done the shout yet, but here we go. And you can also share this video with anyone who loves FPL and UCL Fantasy. I also do content for that too. And these are my socials, Dylan_RCM, Twitter and Instagram, the same as my YouTube. And the link to the Discord server is in the description below, so you can join that. And also the league. The league code is 886RGT, as you're going to see in a little while on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So yeah, that's pretty much all of that. And yeah, any likes and anything like that does help out the channel massively. And if I've answered your question, then, you know, a little like will definitely be a nice little exchange. You know, everyone gets off the better there. So, bench Hudson-Odoi or Hwang? I'd bench Hwang. King or Dennis? I've gone for Dennis. It's 50-50 though. Do you think Tellers would start against Norwich? I think so, Jeremy, yes. In Mbeumo or Smith-Rowe? Smith-Rowe. Honestly think Wilson's going to score the most this week. I don't know about the most, but I think he's going to score, Kyle. I agree. Is it okay without a goalkeeper? I think so. And bear in mind, if you keep Sanchez for long enough, he's going to have a double game week. So yeah. Bachmann or Gaeta? I would go for Gaeta. Smith-Rowe starting? I believe so. Reece James captain this week against Leeds? I think it's a good option actually. From defenders, it's between him and Cancelo for me. Son plus Tony to Bernardo and Antonio? Yes, I'd go for that. Abdelela. Dallo ahead of Jota on the bench. Fair enough, that makes sense. And I don't think Jota's going to start anyway. Jota to Bernardo -4. I think Jota's still a good option in the next month or two. You might want him back, but I think Bernardo's a great choice. I'd go for it, I guess, yeah. But you don't have to. I have to say that in most cases. Should I play Livramento over Jota or take a -4 for Rafinha over Jota? I just play Jota and he'll probably not play. Livramento comes in and avoid the hit. That's what I probably would do in your situation. Hits can pay off though. Benteke on a wild card. On a wild card, I would rather go for King or Dennis. So no, not for me. Start Saka or Jota. In normal circumstances, I say Jota. And the way I see it is Jota starts or he doesn't play at all. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, Saka's more likely to play this week. And yeah, I think it will come on for you anyway. But I'd start Jota. Jesus or Hwang out for Dennis from -4. Hwang. But honestly, I'd get rid of both in the coming weeks. Rashford, Mount or Bowen? Bowen. It'd be Bowen first, Mount second, Rashford third. Welcome, all read my mind. Nice name. Start Gallagher or Jota? Once again, Jota, but I think Gallagher will come on anyway. Hi Dylan, great stream. Captain Lukaku. Yeah, but the thing is, we haven't seen enough form from Lukaku. I know he scored in the Champions League, but yeah, Leeds do have a lot of problems. Phillips is a huge miss. I think they could actually, you know, this could be a comprehensive win for Chelsea. Chelsea have been off form. That could be a very nice differential, actually. Lukaku, he should start this game week. I wouldn't go there, but I think it's a good option. And if you think he's going to outscore Salah, go for him. You know, don't let me talk you out of it. Jota to play, I think he won't play. Konsa for Dunk, yeah. I mean, you could also go for Tyrone Mings or Matty Cash. You know, all these options. But yeah, I think that's not a bad option. Villa have some good fixtures from now on. Don't do it for a hit though. Yeah, 7 minutes left. Thank you very much, David. Play Aspi or Benteke? I don't think Aspi will play, but just in case, I'd start him. The only issue there is if he comes off the bench, then that'd be very frustrating. Origi for a hit? No, Dan Lynch, I wouldn't. What do you think of Martinez till March? Yeah, he has good fixtures. What I would say, Roberto, is he is going down in price tomorrow. It looks like, or should I say tonight, potentially. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, he could be a very good choice. But for 5.5, 5.4 million, I'm not too sure about him. I'd just rather go for De Gea or Ramsdale, with Ramsdale being top of the list. Start Gallagher or Gray? I would go for... That's tough. Let me just remind myself of the Everton fixture. Apologies. Ooh, that's tough. I actually would still go for Gallagher. Yeah. Wait, did I just say that? Wait, let me just double check that. You said Gallagher or Gray. They're facing each other, of course. But yeah, I'd probably go for Gallagher. Welcome, Gitonga. Thank you very much. -4 Bowen. I think it's worth it. Let's see. Force on Watkins. I think he's someone worth looking at from Game Week 17 onwards. He was in the buy section of my transfer tips video this week. And if you already have Antonio, if you already have a Watford striker like King or Dennis, and you want someone around that price, it has to be Watkins. So I think other than Antonio, he's the best option around 7 million. Yeah, King or Dennis? For me, it's Dennis, but you know, there's no right or wrong answer there. I think they're both good. but Dennis has been better this season so far. Would you do a -8 to do Diaz, Son, Antonio, to Dalot, Bowen and Ronaldo? Tough one, but I probably would. James, yep. Play Mbeumo or Jota, but I don't expect him to start. Yeah, Origi for a hit, no. Bowen in for Rafinha for a -8. Tough one. I think if you have enough squad depth, I probably wouldn't. But you can always bring Bowen in next week or in Game Week 18. Why do you think Telles is starting instead of Shaw? Well, it's tough to say right now. I think Shaw's been nursing some injuries, but also some comments by Ranić last season when he wasn't manager, of course, of United, which were very interesting. He said that Shaw isn't good enough for a club like United, so maybe he changed his mind with Shaw's great form last season and in the Euros, but yeah, I don't think he's particularly his favourite player. Should I play Jota or King? I'll just play King in that case. Is Smith Rowe going to play? I believe so. Obviously, just let's wait and see. I'm only offering my opinion. I could be completely wrong, so don't hold me to it. Even if I'm right, you don't have to fake me or anything. I'm just giving my opinion. I could be right or wrong. Let's wait and see. Thank you, Aranya, for the super chat. Would you do a -8 to get in Bowen, Bernardo, Ronaldo and King all in the same week in Game Week 16? Thank you very much for the super chat, Aranya. That's a tough one. And it also depends who you're bringing out, but I think I remember some of the names you were talking about. I probably would, yeah. And then try to steer clear of hits in the future weeks. Of course, the hits can pay off anyway in the long term, and those players are all in for the long run. So I think the hit is worth it, yeah. So ultimately, I would probably go for it, even though I'm not a big fan of hits, despite me being a bit of a hit merchant in recent years, but yeah, I'd probably go for it. Thank you very much once again, Aranya. Much appreciated as always, and good to always have you on here. I'll try to get through some of the questions that were just above. Start Dalot and header Rafinha. Yes, I would do that. Start 4, Benteke, Mbeumo, King, Smith Rowe, Jesus. I would start King, Smith Rowe, Benteke and Jesus. So I'd bench Mbeumo, I guess, yeah. Would you do a -8 to... I mean, that's tough, with the Mbeumo one, because he is facing Watford. So I could be getting that wrong. But either way, I'm not sure about Jesus starting, regardless. Would you do a -8 to go Diaz, Son, and Tony to Dalot, Bowen and Ronaldo? Yes, I would, James. Yep. I think long term it does pay off. Have Foden and Jota with Saka first bench. Foden to Bernardo. Tough one, isn't it? But I probably would, and it also gives you more money. But Foden is a great choice when he's fit. How can you not have Bernardo? Well, I have him now, but yeah, I don't know how I haven't had him for so long, to be honest. Mbeumo or Gallagher out for Bowen? I would actually get rid of Mbeumo. Javier. Rashford, Sancho or Bernardo? I would still go for Bernardo, actually, from those three. Wilson, a good option for this week, but not long term. Don't bring Wilson in, but if you have him, keep him for this and then get rid of him. Thank you, James. Cheers, Dylan. Good luck all. Thank you, and same with everyone else. We've only got 2 minutes left. I'll try to whiz through these. Anthony gives his team. How's my team? It's good. I think the only problem I'd have is that you have no way to get to a mid-price striker. You probably would want to get either at Watkins or Antonio, and when they're fit, Bamford and Calvert-Lewin. So that's something to think about. I think in the weeks to come, you want to get rid of Maddison. You've already got Bowen and Bernardo and Salah, to be fair. Jota's fine. You've got a really good team overall, actually. But I think the main problem here is no route to a mid-price striker, and also maybe your squad depth. You only listed Broja, so that's something to think about. Verstappen versus Hamilton, who are you backing? Well, I'm supporting Verstappen, but I don't know. In terms of race pace, they look better. Red Bull, but not in terms of qualifying, so that's worrying. But let's wait and see. Tony and Sanchez out for King and De Gea for a -8. I'm not a big fan of hits with goalkeepers, but I think it's worth it. I'd go for it, yeah. I think it's good. Start Jesus or Gallagher. It's tough, isn't it? Jesus was nursing a problem, but I don't know. I think Jesus, just in case. It's just the problem is he going to start? That's a different question in itself. And it could go either way. Start Janssen over Jota? No, not for me. And either way, I don't think Jota will play. Rafinha to Bowen or Jota to Silva? I'd go for Silva, but there's nothing wrong with going for Bowen, Marco. Fred to Smith Rowe? Yeah, I'd rather go for that. Is it okay without a goalkeeper? Yes, like I said before, Mandar. Already made 3 transfers for -4. Is a -8 worth it? It depends who you bring in, Supem, but it could be worth it if you're bringing in someone like Bowen or Bernardo or someone else. Hi there, which one to start? Rafinha, Gallagher, Livramento or White? It has to be probably White, actually. Christensen to Dalot for a hit? No, I wouldn't do it for a hit. Yeah, don't forget to lock in exactly, and we are locked in pretty much in a minute. So, yeah, that's it. I've decided to start Jota just in case, and he is in there. Salah's my captain. Vardy's my vice, and I've got Gallagher, Livramento, Douglas Luiz on my bench. Foster is injured anyway. Ramsdale, James, Cancelo, Trent, Alonso, Bernardo, Jota, Salah captain, Antonio, Vardy vice captain, and Dennis. That completes my starting 11. And I've got, I think, 0.9 million left in the bank. So my next few transfer plans could involve Gallagher to Bowen and maybe Livramento to Dalot, potentially. Other than that, I'm relatively happy. Also, I could do Alonso downgrade, and that will give me enough money to upgrade Vardy to Ronaldo. So there's quite a lot of things I could change, but the foundation of the team is pretty solid overall. But need to get some green arrows again. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in, by the way. I'll still go for any questions or comments that you have. Play Brownhill or Jota. Obviously Jota anyway, but once again, I don't expect him to start. Hasta luego, Dylan, y buena suerte, mi hermano. Thank you, Kobe. Buena suerte para vos también. Y sí, vamos a ver qué pasa en Gameweek 16, que parece que va a ser una jornada muy difícil. Pero bueno, vamos a ver. Pero gracias. Took a -8 already. Should I get a -4 to get Trent instead of Alonso? No, I wouldn't do that. Just make the transfer next week for free. Verstappen or Hamilton? I think Verstappen. I mean, I think he's the better driver this year. He deserves to win it, but let's wait and see. Yeah, Rudiger to Dalot to make money. Yeah, that's something to think about, Hamza, in the coming weeks. I'm looking to do something similar with Alonso. Maybe Alonso could become Dalot in my case. James as a 5th defender over starting Jota. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't bench James anyway. Don't know how you answer all the questions, to be honest, Dylan. I'd have to have like 3 cups of coffee before the stream if I was you. Yeah, the thing is though, actually, I don't really drink too much coffee. Sometimes I do, but yeah, I don't know. I like tea and coffee, but yeah, I don't really drink coffee too much. Yeah, I mean, I literally have like a whole Guinness glass full of water, and I haven't really drank anything, so I have a little water break, but yeah, I don't know. Look, it's pretty much full. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I've probably just gotten used to it, but sometimes, yeah, the voice can't, you know, I need to rest my voice sometimes. Yeah, it's time. Thank you very much to Evolving Every Day and everyone else who's tuned in. ESL to Bowen for a -4. I wouldn't have done that anyway. I would just bring in Bowen in 2 game weeks' time. Captain Ronaldo instead of Salah. It's not a bad idea, but I still would have gone with Salah, I think. Yeah, the deadline has passed. Rudiger and Van Dijk. Probably neither, to be honest. If you want to cover Liverpool, it has to be Trent. And yeah, from Chelsea, Reece James. But yeah, if I had to pick Rudiger, yeah, I'll probably go for him. Hobbit, I worry for Dylan's mental health for the same reason. Yeah, no, don't worry. Everything's good. How many points did he get in UCL Fantasy? Well, Danjuma got like 14 points or something crazy. So I got like in the 70s, but it wasn't a great week. I was down to 10 men, and yeah, it wasn't. The hit I took actually backfired. Okafor scored, and Foden, who I brought in, blanked and came off at half time. So I actually would have been into the 80s, and I wouldn't have suffered such a rank drop. I didn't see my rank. I'll be checking that in the few weeks to come, I guess, but. Either way, there's not really much to think about with UCL Fantasy up until February because a lot can change from them. But I might make a first draft, and I think the draw's on Monday. So there might be a video then on Monday, but there will be nothing else probably until February. What are you streaming on? OBS. Yes, says Hamza. Was it right to start Rafinha? Well, I think he could actually do well. If Leeds do something, it'll be through Rafinha. He could cause Alonso all sorts of problems. I probably wouldn't have started him, though, even if I kept him. I done the -12. Damn. Good luck to you, Nicholas. But yeah, just a kind of word of caution. You know, hits can be worth it, but a -12, it's very difficult for that to justify, even over a period of 3-4 game weeks. So yeah, try to balance them out. Fred is in my 11. Thoughts? Well, I remember some people telling me about Fred, but you know, he's not someone I'd want to start, honestly. I don't think he's going to get you attack and returns too often anyway. So Ninja says, took a -12 hit, a few -12s. Yeah, a lot of people taking crazy hits. You know, I'm looking at my own team saying I haven't even taken a hit. If that game is called off, I could have Gallagher and Livramento coming on if Leicester versus Newcastle's called off, which not looking likely yet, but you never know. But yeah, we'll wait and see. You know, this is going to be crazy. I think there could be plenty more postponements to come if, you know, the United game is called off, which, you know, that would be crazy. That would be very frustrating for those who brought in those United assets. Cheers, mate. Had to do my move before you advised due to deadline, but I did do the silver move. Cheers for the advice. Have a route for Jota if needed and can get Bowen soon too. Fair enough. Yeah, Thiago Silva, I don't know. It's just, I know he's been one of the top scoring defenders this season, but the way I see it, I just go for James in defence for Chelsea, and then I'd look for the cheaper options like Man United options like Diego Dalot instead. But, you know, that could still work well. Same with Alonso, but obviously I'm having second doubts about that. Hey Dylan, hope you're doing well. I'm on wildcard. I want a cheap defender, 4.1 or below for the bench. Have one crossed your mind? I have Duffy now. It's tough. I mean, Duffy should be relatively nailed for the next few weeks with all these injuries that Brighton have, but of course he's suspended this week. Other than that, it's Ben Johnson really, but he's injured as well. So really it's just a case of Ben Johnson or Duffy. I would rather go for Johnson when he's fit, but really there's no one else that I'm aware of really. Hablabas español, oh my god. Yeah, Pierre, I do. I speak it at home, mate. Six stream once again, nice one. Good luck this week, y'all. Thank you, Lamoyo. Good to see you on here once again, and same with everyone else who decided to tune in, who smashed the like button and all of that. It's much appreciated. Force on my midfield and attack: Salah, Bowen, Bernardo, Cornet, Mount, Vardy, Saint-Maximin, Dennis. Looks really good. The only thing is Cornet is out this week and maybe for the next game week or two. That is a concern. Saint-Maximin, I'd look to get rid of him in the coming weeks. Maybe Vardy too. But the rest looks fantastic. I wouldn't change the rest. But Cornet and Saint-Maximin and Vardy, those three, I'd probably look to get rid of in the coming weeks. So, yeah, when are you next doing a rating your team's video? I'm not too sure, to be honest. There could be one very soon. I'd actually want to maybe find a way to do it. So maybe every 5 game weeks or so, do a rating your team's video. So yeah, maybe next week it could happen. I'll let you guys know. Dan Jimmer got 15, yeah. CR7 Snake Me got 79. Yeah, I was surprised, I thought United would still play a few strong players, and Ronaldo was, looking to become the second player before Haller did it, to score in every single group stage game. And of course, he was the first person to do it in the 16-17 season, I believe. But yeah, I don't know. I thought he would have started. But then on the actual day of the deadline stream, I was actually talking about this. I was less sure about Ronaldo, and I was more leaning towards the other options. But yeah, UCL Fantasy was very, very tough, and PSG suddenly, found their shooting boots on, and yeah, all the rotation and stuff, it always hits you. Justin Ronaldo triple captain. Good luck, Neo. Let's wait and see how that turns out. But yeah, obviously the kind of big question mark there would be if the game is called off. I don't think it will be, not right now anyway. But let's wait and see. Hopefully you don't get bad luck there. Weekend predictions: odds Origi to score double digits and Max to win it all and Arsenal to draw. I'd take that, even if Arsenal, I don't really care about Arsenal, really. I'll be honest, I don't really see them fighting for anything. But yeah, Verstappen to win it all, that'd be fantastic. I'd definitely be a big fan of that. And yeah, I don't really care if Origi gets double digits or not. That would be a very... If he does, you deserve something for that, because that's an exceptional prediction, to be honest. But yeah, we'll wait and see. I think Arsenal should have enough to win, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with a draw or a loss there. Verstappen, let's wait and see. That would be interesting. Foden 100% out. Yeah, well, the thing is with Foden, he's a constant, doubt every single week. So that's why I'm happy to have got rid of him when I did. Yeah, I still got him in UCL Fantasy. I don't know why I did that. Is James still a good buy now? Yes, just bear in mind there are some blanks in 24 and 25. And also Chelsea have some pretty mixed fixtures, but I still think he's a good buy. Really appreciate... you every week, Dylan. Good quality advice and content, and you understand the pain of supporting Arsenal too. Good luck this week, mate, and really need a green arrow. Good luck to you as well, Marco. And yeah, with Arsenal, I'm kind of just a bit indifferent at the moment, to be fair, but yeah, we'll wait and see. Thank you very much for your kind words, and thank you for always tuning in and with all these quality questions and comments. I started Smith Rowe over Jota. Thoughts? I don't really think it matters too much, Ben. I don't think Jota will start, but in any case, just like I did, I started Jota in the hopes or in the case that he does start and have an advantage of others, but I don't really think he's going to play. -12 hit locked. Another one with a -12. We're seeing a lot of people with -8s and -12s. It's crazy. Hi Dylan, who would you have benched out of Jota, Smith Rowe or Alonso? It's tough really. It would probably have been Alonso, but he would come on anyway for Jota. I don't see Jota starting this week. Son and Tony for Richarlison and Bowen, -4 thoughts. Already have Ronaldo. I'm not a big fan of Richarlison, really. But yeah, Bowen's a really good transfer. Not too sure about Richarlison. I'd rather go for Watkins, if I'm being honest. And also Antonio, King, Dennis. But yeah, I mean, Richarlison could be a really nice differential. He's got great fixtures. You might be ahead of the curve there. But personally, I don't know. Richarlison's a bit inconsistent. He's a bit of an offside goal merchant, as we saw the other day. But yeah, One Football predicts Leeds 1, Chelsea 0. Really? At Stamford Bridge? There's no chance that's going to happen. I did a -8 to get Alonso, Ronaldo, Bowen and King for Kane, Reguilon, Tony and Rafinha. Tell me it'll be worth it. Yeah, I think I'm a bit surprised you went for Alonso, considering what's happened recently, but it makes sense why you made those transfers. I think Ronaldo, Bowen and King are definitely worth it. In a few weeks, you might consider downgrading Alonso to get more money. But yeah, I think The hits overall, the transfers are worth it. It's just I'm a bit unsure about Alonso right now. If, I got Alonso in very early. If I had all this data and seen all these performances, I probably wouldn't have gone for him, actually. Jota is out. Klopp confirmed he will start. Origi. Yeah, I mean, from what I saw from the press conference, I mean, it's just like he has a really big doubt of him starting this week. He's got a muscle injury. But yeah, I think Origi will start. I don't see Jota starting or even coming off the bench. And also Firmino's coming back into the mix. Let's see what else we've missed. Brought Ronaldo, Dallo and King for Tony, Kane, Livramento for a -4. Good moves. Yep, I think so. Just like the moves above that I talked about. I think those are good moves. Yeah, really good. I went with Lukaku captain and a -4. My free transfers still have Foden, Jota, Smith Rowe doubts. I think Smith Rowe should be fine. He was training this week. Jota, I don't expect him to start. Foden is a mystery. He could even come off the bench. But yeah, Lukaku's very bold, especially captaining him. Hopefully it pays off for you, Yusuf. Dylan, next season let's start an F1 Channel 2 discussion and thoughts. Maybe. We do talk about F1 quite a lot now. But will F1 be interesting next season? Let's wait and see. But yeah, I don't know. I hope it's a good end to the season. I hope Verstappen can pull it off. But yeah, Mercedes are looking very quick. Just want to say thank you. You see my fantasy UCL. It's been my first time playing as I only got into football recently. Got 38 points in matchday 1. Now on 430 and 830 in England. Thank you very much. Obviously, I don't want to take credit, for people who do well, and the same goes for if they do badly. But yeah, obviously, I've seen some people. Like they'd copy the exact same team, and then if it doesn't go right, they'll blame. I mean, I try not to take it too much whether it goes right or wrong, but obviously I appreciate that you're doing well and it's very good. And yeah, ultimately just making your own decisions. You could even go ahead of what I've said, make even better choices than I've made or suggested in my videos. But it's good to hear that you're doing well. Hopefully you can break more ground and get into even better ranks. But thank you very much. You speak Spanish. What happened to the German Timo? Yeah, no, might look German, but definitely can't speak German. Definitely not, but I can speak Spanish. Under 4 million, Williams, Norwich defender. Yeah, Simicast as well if Robertson gets injured, but yeah, there's not really anyone else. Watch along soon? Probably not. And definitely not with Arsenal. It's just going to be me either complaining about the ref, especially when they do dumb stuff like Mike Dean and Martin Atkinson in recent weeks, and if not, it'll just be me just not even reacting, just literally being in silence about how bad Arsenal are. But yeah, my free hit worked. I managed to get 115 points to Sidindra in FPL. I'm guessing you're talking about UCL Fantasy, but fair play. I didn't go for a -8 in the end. I was hoping to move Jota out ahead of his fixture with Newcastle to get both Bernardo and Bowen, and without knowing the extent of his injury. Yeah, he could be back in game week 17 or 18, so that makes sense. Not a fan of big hits anyway. Neither am I, to be honest, but yeah. Meant Bernardo Silva, sorry for the confusion. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's completely fine, Marco. Yeah, no. Imagine I said, no, don't go for Silva, and I meant Thiago Silva, and you don't go for Silva. Like, no, yeah. Bernardo Silva, I agree with. I've brought him in myself. Timo. Hey, Dylan, love you. UCL fantasy streams. Is James still a good FPL buy now? Is he a good pick for the next 5 or 6? Yeah, I think so. I still think he's one of the best options you can go for. I don't think his ceiling will be as high as it was 5 or 6 game weeks ago, but still a really good choice nonetheless. He's not essential though. We've kind of learned that the hard way this season. No one is essential. Salah is the only one really, but everyone else you can pretty much do without. But I think it's a good transfer. If Foden doesn't start, who do you think will play at the wing? Jesus might be injured as well. I think it might be Grealish. So the way I see it, it could be Bernardo Silva. It could also actually be Sterling. It'll be either Sterling or Grealish on the left. And on the right, it could be Jesus or Mahrez. And if not, it could be Sterling pushed on the right, Grealish left. Bernardo is one of the central midfielders. De Bruyne as a false 9. If not, it'll be Bernardo. There's so many things City can do. They're so dynamic. But in terms of the left wing specifically, yeah, it'll be Grealish or Sterling, I think. It has to be. Plus, City faced Wolves, who have become better defensively recently, so I felt I could wait for one more week before getting Bernardo in. Yeah, that makes sense. And you don't have to be in a rush to get him in just because everyone is, and you've already missed a lot of price rises, so yeah, I completely understand that. Is Alonso to Dallo a good move? I also have James. Yeah, I think so. It's something I'm thinking of doing in the next few weeks to then maybe upgrade my striker. Yeah, Mandar, as I said before, it is okay to go without a goalkeeper, don't you worry. Thinking about a -16 for Ronaldo from Son. No, don't do that. Breaking apart your whole team, taking a -16, it's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. How can you be a fan and indifferent? That's a good question. I mean, honestly, look, I'm a massive fan of Arsenal. I've always have been, but I'm kind of just... it's hard to explain, but there's definitely not as much of a connection with the club as there was beforehand, and maybe that's part to do with Wenger as well. But yeah, like literally, I'm kind of already expecting the same thing to happen every single week, whether it's a big decision going against Arsenal, or Arsenal bottling a lead, or just sitting back after taking a lead, or whatever. It's just, I don't really care as much. Let's put it that way. Obviously, if I'm being honest, the main team I support right now, which is the national team, I do care. Even if we're playing badly for a stretch of games, I will care. So maybe more of my attention has been stretched towards that. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people kind of deviate away from Arsenal and maybe to something else. Not necessarily supporting another club per se, but I've seen a lot of people kind of fall out of love with Arsenal. I don't know if that's happening with me, but yeah, I don't know. Everyone is different. You can't really pin it down to a specific thing. Do you think Johnson will be back next week, or is it a long-term injury? Honestly, I'm not sure. It's a hamstring injury. That could be 2 to 3 weeks. It depends on the extent. Let's wait and see what David Moyes says. But yeah, if he is back within the next few weeks, that'd be very helpful. A very nice enabler. You could do Alonso to Johnson, and then that gives you enough money to upgrade, someone like Vardy to Ronaldo. Dylan, today's live streaming was perfect, like it was during the August and September. Yeah, like I said, the only reason I'll try to consider that is just most people do prefer 7 o'clock. I will check the analytics and all of that as well to make the best possible decision, but it's tough because most people do vote for the 7 o'clock one. We've streamed today at 5 because we do have an early deadline, 6:30. It's already passed in the UK. But yeah, I'll try to bear it in mind and try to appeal to more audiences. I know a lot of people here in the live chat, they watch when it's like 4 a.m. or something, which is ridiculous to be fair. Fernandes for goalkeeper, honestly, for me it's Ramsdale, De Gea and Sanchez when of course he's available. I wouldn't go for Fernandes. Wildcarded out Jota after getting him last week. Someone has crushed my downstairs area into a blender. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy. But on a wildcard it makes sense. I would have done the same thing. I'm playing free hit. Wish me luck. Good luck, mate. Hopefully it pays off. And that's very interesting playing that. I did Rafinha and Jota to bone and Bernardo for a -4. I think that's pretty fine, to be fair, Joe. Vardy to Ronaldo early tonight to get the price rise. Yeah, I would maybe consider waiting for at least tomorrow's games to pass as well, because there could be an injury or something. There could be several cases tomorrow, but yeah, just bear in mind. So Gaming Zone says my 11 rate 1 out of 10. I don't tend to give ratings actually. I tend to just say what to improve. I would say that's a solid 8, maybe 7. Mbumo's the weakness there. Everything else is fine. If Jota is a concern in the future weeks, then that is something else to think about. But Mbumo to, you already got Bowen. Even Mbumo to Gallagher or Smith Rowe is actually worth it. But would you bring in Gallagher right now? Probably not. So it's a tough one, isn't it? But overall, it's a good team. Yeah, definitely. I thought the deadline was tomorrow. I have Son, Kane and Jota. Yeah, it's always important to double check. If you have the FPL app, there is actually a way of having notifications. So I think if you click on it, it will give you the deadline notifications. It will say there is 24 hours remaining, or it will tell you there's only 2 hours left, make changes. So make sure you have that. And also, whenever the game week starts, I would try to set your team at least, your bench and your captain and all of that, and check what the deadline says, So try to check that every so often. And we've actually got another deadline, I think, on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. So let me actually double check this. Yeah, we do. We got another one, and then on Saturday. So no breaks. It will be difficult maybe to actually do all the videos that we typically do, but I'll try to do as much content as possible. But there's no UCL Fantasy now, so full focus now on FPL. But there still could be actually a UCL Fantasy video on the Monday when the draw is out. Is Vardy going to play? Obviously, I can't tell you that for sure, but I believe so. I believe he will start. I brought in Gaeta, Bernardo, Mount, and Dennis for Begovic, Son, Cornet, Ambrosia for a -12. Was it a good move? I'm not a big fan of -12s, but it makes sense. Yeah, I can see why he did that, and yeah, I think it's worth it. Well, it's worth it long term, but I'm still not a big fan of -12s. When would you do a rage reaction stream? Probably straight after an Arsenal game, if that's the final one. But I don't know. No, probably not. I don't want to. I want to keep things PG and everything, and also, there's no point just me swearing. What does anyone gain from that? Just a bit of comedy, like, look at this mug, just swearing. 115 points in UCL Fantasy. That's really good. Really good. It's been a long time since I got one of those scores, unfortunately. Who's a better option, Smith Rowe or King? King for me. Let's watch alongs soon in Zoom. Bet Dylan will be pissed at the ref. Yeah, but the thing is though, if you look at the last two Arsenal games, come on, like there are blatant decisions. Like I'm not complaining about these small 50-50s that can go either way. I'm talking about major decisions. And either way, actually, despite how stupid the decision not to send off Godfrey was, I actually didn't rage about it. I'm literally used to it at this point. But yeah, I'm not really going to care too much. Jota to Rashford for a -4. Was it worth it? I can see why you did it, but if Jota's back in the next few weeks, I would just rather have kept Jota. But it's easy to say that in hindsight, but it's a good move, you know. Rashford could be a nice differential. Who's a better bench option, Smith or King? You wouldn't really want to bench either of them too often, though, but I'd rather have King. Who do you think will win the F1? I mean, looking at it logically, Mercedes have the better car. Abu Dhabi suits Mercedes more. I think they have the edge. They've got all the momentum as well. But Verstappen, for me, is the quicker driver. I think if anyone can do something, it'll be Verstappen, and I just hope that he manages to do it. But, you know, realistically, it will be Mercedes, you know, winning probably both championships. Well, your points target this week, it's very difficult to say. It could be one of those weeks where everything goes wrong, or it could be one of those weeks where everything you touch turns to gold. But it's all out of my control, really. But because Jota's injured and probably won't play, I'd say it's tough. I mean, I can't really pin this down exactly. I'd say between 60 and 75 points, and I'd be pretty happy with that, I guess, but it could easily be less. Liverpool scoring goals for fun, yeah. Probably, maybe not the case this week. It might just be like they score 2 and kind of lay off a bit. Hey Dylan, who would you have benched out of Jota, Alonso, Dennis, Smith Rowe? Yeah, I already said this before. I probably would have benched Alonso, but it doesn't make too much difference anyway. I don't think Jota will start regardless. I'm now 6 points behind you in Champions League Fantasy. Do you think it was good? Yeah. I'm not really too happy with where I am at the moment, to be honest, considering where I was in match day 4 or 5. But yeah, it's different, you know. If you're kind of coming from a lower rank and you're now in a good position, you know, you're in much better, you know, maybe confidence, or you're much happier about the situation. But if you start off pretty well, and then you kind of tail off a few red hours in a row, that's when your kind of perception changes. So it's kind of interesting how that goes. Obviously, you're in a good position anyway. You definitely are. I'm just not so happy with my situation because I've been getting a few red hours in a row. Who's going to replace Vardy when fixtures swing? For me, probably Ronaldo. And if not, I'll maybe consider another mid-price striker, but probably Ronaldo. You don't have to go for him, though. And you can maybe improve the rest of your squad quite significantly without the Portuguese maestro. Going with no bench and Jota playing, let's hope for the best. I don't think Jota will play, to be honest, but let's wait and see. I don't trust United defence to get Dallo in, yeah. But he's 4.4, soon to be 4.5, so I think he is a good option. How do substitutions work in FPL, please? Very simple. So, as you can see here, I've got Gallagher first sub. If Jota doesn't play, which is very likely, he will come off and Gallagher will come on. In some cases, that isn't the case. So let me try find an example. So, yeah, let's say, for example, I had 3 defenders here. Let's say, for example, 2 of my defenders don't play. So Alonso and Cancelo, they both don't play and they don't come on, whatever. So I'm down to 2 defenders. What does that mean? Maybe this isn't the best example, by the way, because Gallagher would come in anyway. But basically, that would skip the first substitution, no matter if it's a midfielder or whatever, and it will go to your first defender on your bench, because you have to have at least 3 defenders. You have to have at least 2 midfielders and 1 striker. That's the way you have to go. And you have to have a valid formation. So sometimes it will skip your first sub and go to your next defender. And the same goes for other positions. If you're down to, 0 strikers, you have to have your first striker on your bench. That will be prioritised. But yeah, other than that, it will be whoever's first on your bench will come on. And that's the simple way. But otherwise, it will skip and go to players in that position that you need coverage in to field an eligible formation. Hopefully that's all clear. Where do you learn Spanish? I speak it at home, so yeah, that's how I've learned it. Dylan, did you watch today's practice in F1? I did. Verstappen went quickest in FP1. In FP2, Hamilton was significantly quicker on qualifying mode, which is quite worrying. But then you look at the race pace, and even though we can't really judge too much on practice, Verstappen and Perez were actually the quickest. So based on what we're seeing right now, Mercedes kind of fine-tuning the qualifying, and Red Bull focusing more on the race pace, which is kind of the opposite of Jeddah, where it's the other way around for both teams. But yeah, both are important. In terms of the last 5 years, I believe whoever's on pole tends to win the race in Abu Dhabi. They have made changes to the circuit layout, but let's wait and see. I think Red Bull still have a chance, but In terms of the constructors, that's very unlikely. They need a miracle there, frankly. But in terms of the drivers, I don't know. Mercedes have the edge for sure. Force and Lanzini, if he plays 90 and scores this week, it's another one to consider. Same with Fornals, but still Bowen for me. He has the stats and everything, so I would go for Bowen. Did Alonso to Dalot for Kane to Ronaldo. That makes sense, and that could actually work out pretty well. And definitely with Kane missing out this week, that is the right thing to do. I've been doing well in FPL since the start. Yeah, that's a good team, Devante. In terms of ways to improve going forward, there's not really anything that strikes out to me. I don't think you need to get rid of Sissoko. Maybe Foden, if he continues to be a doubt, maybe Foden to Bernardo, and then you have extra money in the bank. But other than that, you don't need anything. Possibly your bench, because, you've only listed 3 defenders. So maybe improving your defenders, Devante, that's what I would look at. But other than that, maybe Foden to Bernardo in a few weeks, or maybe next week. I'm going to go for Antonio and Watkins in these weeks. I think they could outscore Ronaldo. Yeah, I'm also thinking about that as well, potentially. I don't think Ronaldo's absolutely necessary. Will Broja start? I think so, Boris, yeah. Forcing the Cup starting this week, I'm not that bothered, to be honest. I'm not really that bothered about the Cup. Let's wait and see. A lot of it is down to luck as well. The luck of the draw. It's very difficult to win it. Obviously, whoever does win it, fair play. But, I'm not really looking at it. And reward, I don't believe is that great anyway. Got Jota, Tavares, Livramento for 2 spots in starting 11. God bless me. Spurs triple did a -4. Yeah, sometimes these things can happen, and it would have paid off against Norwich, but then not so much here. But those are some good transfers. Tavares, though, Tavares won't play, I think, this week, but the others should. Well, Livramento should. Jota, maybe not so much, but let's wait and see. Who do you think City will play in the round of 16? Is this Champions League? I need to actually check this. Yeah, the FPL site is down. Who could they play? So it has to be second place teams. They could play Juventus, couldn't they? No, Juventus finished first. Actually, it was Chelsea, so they can't play them. I have to check the Champions League groups. So let me check those in a second, and then I'll give you a better prediction than what I normally would. But yeah, we'll be ending the stream soon. We'll be going on for 2 hours now, actually, yeah. Normally we go on for over 2 hours anyway. But yeah. Come on, give me the groups. God damn it. Alright, so. Let's get this up. Oh, let's give me UCL Fantasy. I'd rather forget that at the moment because it hasn't been going too well recently, unfortunately, despite a really strong start. But yeah, I don't want to see that. Okay, I actually typed in Champions League Fantasy. That's my fault. No wonder I didn't get it. Oh my god, the kind of old habits die hard. Alright, so Man City, who could they face? They could face Atletico Madrid, that's interesting. Sporting Lisbon, Inter Milan, Benfica, Villarreal, Salzburg, not Chelsea. Tough one. I have a feeling, just to kind of go with my gut feeling, I think they will play Benfica. I don't know why. I just think they'll play Benfica, but that's something that I might change my mind in a day or two. But right now, I don't know. I just think Benfica, the return of the mighty Otamendi. If not, they could easily face a Villarreal maybe. But yeah, we'll wait and see. I don't think they'll face Atletico, but you never know. And that would be an interesting game. See how that turns out. Oh no. I'm pretty sure you're never going to rage on a live stream. You're so calm and composed usually. That'll be something totally not Dylan, to be honest. Well, honestly, I tend to be a kind of hot-headed character, actually. It depends on the situation. Like if I'm gaming or something, or I'm really competing for something, yeah, I can be quite aggressive, I'll be honest. But yeah, in terms of streams, obviously, I can compose myself for the most part. So even if someone, sends hate or abuse, I'll just literally ignore it or whatever. It doesn't really affect me. But thank you very much, Aranya. Slept off watching your stream. Oh, thank you very much. No, I know you mean you're tired, yeah. And suddenly woke up once I heard you talk about F1. Fair enough, yeah. No, I would suggest probably just turning off anyway. I'm just going through these last few questions and comments anyway, but yeah. Yeah, F1 is quite interesting this year. Normally, I'm the type to actually seep through F1 or not watch it in recent years, but this year it's actually good for once. Dylan, please do a rage reaction on Monday because I've just read Lewis Hamilton quicker than Verstappen in Abu Dhabi second practice. Yeah, I already talked about this before. He was quicker in second practice, but on race pace, Verstappen was actually quicker. And Perez, they were quicker than both Mercedes, but they haven't put the actual new engine in. So, both teams have kind of turned down the engine mode. So I wouldn't put too much emphasis in it, but I think Mercedes do look better in this track, of course. And I think if they had an equal car, I think Verstappen would have won it already. And even without the crashes, we bring that into the mix. I think Verstappen would be champion already, or pretty much about to be. This week probably would have been a good week to free hit. Potentially, yeah. It's not the worst week to free hit, but at the same time, you could always save it for a double or a blank game week as well. Took a -8. Tony, Son, Region out. Ronaldo, Dallo, Gray, and yeah, they're good moves, but I'm not a big fan of Gray right now. I could change my mind, but yeah, not too sure about him. Let's see. I'll try to get through these last questions. Is Jacob Ramsey? Yep, he's a good enabler. Same with Gilmore and also Douglas Luiz. I think they're the three best, but I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. How are you still streaming when the deadline's gone? Well, because people are still asking questions and still trying to get through them, to be honest. How many points did you take? I didn't take any hits, to be honest. And making rage transfers never help. Yeah, I came across a YouTuber last week who was so angry about Kane having blanked all 3 weeks that he took a -4 and brought Son in all for nothing. Yeah, I think I saw something about someone raging. I don't know if I saw that particular video, but yeah. Kane was... I don't know what's happened to him this season, to be honest. What is your season's aim? To be better than last season, which, to be honest, wasn't great, but to try and get into at least the top 40k. Obviously, if I'm trying to be very ambitious, the top 10k I'd be very happy with. But obviously, the kind of aim every season to win it, that would be, the way to go. But you also got to be realistic, It is quite difficult to do that. The prices aren't really worth it, if we're being honest. But yeah, I think just to do as best as I can and to improve, keep on improving. I started, I think, 67k in my first season, and that's with a lot of hits in the first half of the season. Last season, I finished 55k, which isn't great, but it's not too bad, and I'm looking to improve on that. If I started a Spurs or Brighton player, would the substitution apply? Yes, they would. They would be brought off anyway because they haven't played. Dylan, you started a Discord channel too. I got the notification, but didn't you host any chat? Yeah, there's a Discord channel open. The link is in the description, but I haven't done any voice chat, if that's what you're referring to. Watford lineups are out. Yes, we'll check it. Captain Josh King. Wow, good luck, Dr. Swan, and good to see you here once again, by the way. I remember you from the UCL Fantasy streams last season and videos, even before we even had like 1,000 subscribers, I believe. So thank you very much for tuning in. I'll check the lineups now and read them out to you. Live score doesn't have it just has the possible lineup, unfortunately. Let me check Sofa score. Would you do a watch along for the round of 16 draw? Maybe. These are some good ideas, but we'll wait and see. What I am thinking of doing is just making a draft and showing you my first impressions, my first thoughts of a draft for the round of 16, more than anything. But yeah, I mean, that would be pretty interesting as well. I predicted Man City will be drawn against Sporting. Yeah, that's also another good choice, actually. Yeah, I could see that happening too. But then again, it could be anyone. It literally could. Thanks, Dylan. Good luck for Gameweek 16. See you on Tuesday for the next deadline stream. Good luck, Sadindra. Hope to see you there as well. And yeah, that should be another early one, isn't it? Because it's an early deadline, so should be around the same time here, 5 p.m. Fair enough, Dr. Swan, an instinct for King. But yeah, let's wait and see how that pays off. You've got to hope that he has his shooting boots on for once. But yeah, hit the like button, guys. 200 likes and Dylan will have to host an F1 live chat too next weekend. Season reaction over one-time chat. Yeah. I haven't actually seen the... let me check. Let me try to get the lineups out actually first, and I'll get through the last few questions and check how the stream's doing. But let's see. So the lineups, I think this is actually confirmed. So Fernandes in goal for Brentford. Good, Janssen, Janelt, Rolslev, Baptiste, who actually scored in the last game. Norgard, Jensen, Rico Henry, Mbumo, and Wissa. And for Watford, Backman in goal. Ngakia, Cathcart, Trust Ekong, Firmino, Sissoko, Kuchka, Cleverly, Hernandez, Joshua King, and Emmanuel Dennis. So pretty much what we expected. No surprises there. Let's see how they do. And let's see if my kind of, I don't know about punt, but my decision to go for Dennis over King has actually paid off, because I was leaning more towards King beforehand. So a bit of an odd choice, you could say, for me to finally go for him in the end. So let's see this. Still 145 of you watching. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated. And yeah, 143 likes. So if anyone hasn't liked the video already, smash the like button, subscribe for new, all that good stuff. We're trying to get to 9,000 subscribers next before moving on to 10,000, which is the aim before the end of the season. And I think we can definitely reach that. And we reached 8,000 recently. Obviously, much appreciated. And yeah, we'll keep on going. I'll go through these last few questions as well. it's already past time from where I am. I decided to roll the transfer. Got similar squad though. Worried about Foden and Jota. Yeah, the deadline has passed and it's been half an hour. Just bear in mind with the app and the site, it keeps crashing. And yeah, Foden and Jota, I don't expect Jota to start, and Foden might come off the bench if anything. How will you deal with Jota, hold or sell? I'll wait and see for more information and obviously wait at least for the game, for the Liverpool game. But right now I'm looking to hold, to be honest. Would you watch All or Nothing for Arsenal? Maybe, just to laugh at some of the banter, but I don't know. Yeah, I probably will watch it. Lineups are out, but no surprises. Exactly, Jack. Exactly. Nigel, yeah, that's a good team. In the coming weeks, maybe Vardy, you could move to Ronaldo, or maybe to actually just move him down, actually. You could do that. Maybe Vardy down to Antonio. The only thing I would say with your team, Nigel, is that you do have 2 budget forwards, and it is a bit difficult for you to get out of that. So that would be a bit of a concern, but it looks good. Wait for more news about Jota. If you ever need money, you could think about downgrading Alonso, and you can upgrade the rest of your team. I think Gallagher to Bowen definitely looks like a move to make in the next few weeks. I've got 11 green arrows in 12 weeks. I didn't play it properly in the beginning and started quite low. That's really impressive though. And only 1 week, one poor week, definitely easily kind of overtaken or overshadowed by 11 great game weeks in a row. Yeah, Watford lineups out. King, Dennis and Kucho up front. Ranieri goes all out attack, like it. Yeah, let's wait and see. Hopefully it looks good. One Football has them. Yeah, they do. And Boomer hat-trick coming. If that happens, I mean, I'd be shocked. I'd be absolutely shocked. Thank you, Mark, for joining the Discord. And I encourage anyone else, if you haven't already, you can join the Discord as well. Last minute things change captaincy to James. Good luck, Ahmed. Let's wait and see how that pays off. That would be absolutely insane if he actually outscores Salah. Thank you, Dylan, for your time. Thank you, John. Same thing. Thank you for your time. And everyone else here. Do you think Jota will be benched because of Firmino next week, even if he is fit? That's a really good question, actually. That is possible, and that's why I can see why a few people got rid of Jota, and it might be the right thing to do. But I think if Jota's fully fit, he will start because he's been in great form. But if there is any kind of, if he's not fully fit, it will be Firmino or Origi starting instead. Another one saying in Boomer hat-trick loading. Kucho or Broja, who is more nailed? I would say Kucho, but I would rather go for Broja. And to be fair, it's a bit difficult to judge because Broja was relatively nailed before he got injured, and now he's come back into the side again. Great stream, Dylan. To be honest, you're clear of all the other FPL streamers. Way more entertaining than the rest. Thank you, Ben. Obviously, everyone's different and everyone has their own things in the table. I'm looking to improve some things. Before I got into the stream, actually, I was trying to do some Photoshop stuff and graphics and just working on some things, even for next season. But yeah, there's definitely a lot to improve on. I know I can definitely improve on some things, and I'm looking to do that. But yeah, everyone's different. I wouldn't say I'm clear of anyone. Thank you very much, Ben. I chose Dennis too. He has a much higher ceiling. Yeah, that's also another thing. I probably didn't mention it today. That's a really good point. His ceiling is high. I talked about this in my best wildcard team video as well. 144, says Momo. Is that your rank? If that is, then fair play. FPL website back up. Thank you. Yeah, the website's been up and down for a whole day pretty much. Thank you, Boris. I appreciate you too. I don't think a lot of people appreciate Boris Johnson, but obviously you're probably the better Boris there. Good luck for the game week, mate. Can't wait for your rage tweet during the game week. I probably will just save it, to be honest. I don't think I'll rage against Southampton, and not because I think Arsenal will win, but because I just don't care. Maybe F1 though. That's true. Maybe F1. Welcome, Ahmed. Thank you for tuning in. Website back up, but can change this game week's team? Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, we can, I think. Let's actually go now. Let's show you what my team is like now. So this is how my team is looking like. Wait, what? Sorry. Wait, what? I am very baff right now. So yeah, it doesn't show the. I just sound German there. It doesn't show the fixtures for next week. That's surprising. I literally refreshed the page as well. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you very much for that. That's odd. Let's see. Good night, everyone. Happy to meet FPO and F1 fans in the same place. Worth the time. See you all next week. Yeah, Yorang, hopefully a positive result for F1 and Max Verstappen, but let's wait and see. Thank you very much for tuning in. Yep, Rodriff. Hey, Dylan, you haven't made all the score predictions for this week? Yeah, I haven't. I probably won't. I might do it quickly at the end, but yeah. Thank you, Ahmed. Much appreciated. Very tempted to captain Cancelo this game week, but still ended up captaining Salah. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. Cancelo was also another tempting one, but I think Wolves could score potentially. Dennis or King, I mean, it's 50-50. I've gone for Dennis. I think he's got a higher ceiling, as alluded to earlier by RJ Moon. And also, I just think he's a better player. He's more clinical. But if you look at penalties, King has them. He's also in more central areas, so his heat map is more encouraging. And he also gets more big chances as a result of that. So his stats are actually significantly better than Dennis. I'm sorry, I was saying 144 when you said, 143 likes, subbed and enjoyed the content. Oh, thank you, Momo. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. 151 likes now. So yeah, much appreciated to everyone. Roll the rage feet for next week. Yeah, it's kind of like, you see what I mean? So I'm not exactly the most calm and composed person in the world, but yeah, we'll see. Oh no, here we go. You're a Verstappen fan? No. Well, I mean, I just think he's a... anyway, I was going to say better driver, but don't want to get emotions too high. But, you know, whether you like Max Verstappen or not, you have to agree he has made F1 interesting this year. I think without him, it's probably another snooze fest. I had to sign out and sign back in. Had me puzzled at first also. Fair enough. Either way, I'll be saving that for the team selection videos and deadline streams to come. Also the reaction stream, which could happen tomorrow, actually. So thank you very much. -8 for Gameweek 17 to get Ronaldo, Antonio and Fred, and get out Son, Armstrong and Jesus. Fred will be first on the bench. Yeah, I mean, I like the Antonio and Ronaldo moves. Not too sure about Fred, but I can see why you did it. But yeah, fair enough. Would you watch the game later? Yeah, maybe. I might do, Wei Seng. The guy in second position in one of my mini leagues has gone for Lukaku, Man and Rudiger this week. Could pay off handsomely. Yeah, it could, but will it pay off long term? That's a different question in itself. That's the main thing about it. Hey, your thoughts on Lukaku this week? I think if he starts, he could be in for a really big haul and actually keep up with Vardy and Ronaldo, who have better fixtures on paper. But Leeds are very, very in a bad situation, let's put it that way, without Phillips and also Bamford. It looks like he's going to be out too. But yeah, I think Lukaku's a good choice this week. I wouldn't be bringing him in. Wow, why am I watching this? Thank you very much. Let's wait and see. Don't worry, Naresh. I just saw the banned comment. You're a Verstappen fan, please. Well, yeah, he's a great driver, but still needs more experience. A couple lucky times. He hasn't been penalised. Yeah, I'll just keep my thoughts to myself. Do you like cricket? No, honestly, I don't like cricket. I mean, I don't mind playing it, but watching it, I've never really gotten into it. Gallagher or Alonso on the bench? I would have started Alonso, probably, and that's what I did in my situation there as well. Where can we check previous season's points for some players? Yeah, you click on the I, so the information, and you go all the way down to the bottom and it says previous season, so you can check all of their previous season's totals, goals, assists, clean sheets, goals conceded even, points, yellow cards and all of that, bonus points. So yeah, that's how you can check it. Let's see. I think Fred is good because he plays a lot for no reason. Yeah. The thing is, 4 points every week off the bench. I don't know about 4 points because he's pretty much capped at 2 to 3, unless he gets an assist. That's a bit different, but yeah, I wouldn't probably go for him, honestly. But let's wait and see. You know, he might be a bit more offensive now. Under Ranić, he tends to be a box-to-box midfielder. Thank you, Rusba. Thank you very much. Going to take a 1 week punt on Watkins against Norwich if free of COVID. Yeah, I think that could actually be a really good one. And if that game goes ahead and Norwich are depleted because of COVID, then even better, to be honest. Do you like dodgeball? Not really, not to watch anyway. Your favourite club? Arsenal. My favourite club is Arsenal, unfortunately. The less said about that, the better. But thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in. As always, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. We're wrapping up now. We've been going on for over 2 hours and the deadline has passed almost an hour ago, actually. These are my socials, Twitter and Instagram, Dylan_RCM. The link to the Discord server is in the link in the description below. And if you haven't already, smash the like button, as I said. Subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get to 9,000, then 10,000. That's the aim. Good luck with Gameweek 16. We're going to be having some more videos and live streams soon. There'll probably be the reaction stream tomorrow. Despite the quick turnaround, we've got another deadline stream on Tuesday. And UCL Fantasy, there could be a video on Monday, but no promises there because that could actually be pushed back for a bit later because there's so much FPL content to go through, really. But thank you very much. Good luck. Enjoy the football. And I'll see you next time.